First chapter, Chronicles of Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto had been walking aimlessly in a clumsy gait, his shoulders slumped as if a ponderous burden was placed on it while dragging every single tiresome step. The blonde was uncertain whether he was alive or not and was perplexed over the fact that a chain was mysteriously attached onto his chest. He remembered waking up in a dark forest and started surveying the desolated surrounding while trying to recall how exactly did he ended up in this mess. As he tried to remember the sequence of events that resulted in his predicament, the blonde's head started to ache painfully. Naruto continued traveling to the deepest domain of the tenebrous forest. He couldn't help but shivered in fear. It had been days or weeks since the boy wandered around the maze called forest. Surprisingly to him, nothing could notice his presence. No matter how he tried to provoke an animal or a passerby, nobody seemed to be aware of his existence. He felt empty. As far as he was concerned, he had lived his life trying to gain acknowledgement. Fearing of being denied of his existence due to how he was treated usually by the villagers, the blonde was masked with a facade that he thought could allow him to blend into the populace. Even so, he failed miserably and eventually decided to become the Hokage of the village in hope that the villagers would trust him. Since his death, his dream of becoming Hokage would be impossible. How ironic. All his life, his goal and dream which he tried desperately to reach were shattered into million pieces. Life was so fragile. And so unfair. While contemplating, the blonde was unaware of a certain pair of eyes observing him under the shadows. The silent being had been studying the boy for a while and decided to make his presence noticed by flaring his Ryatsu, shaking the entire forest to its core. What is this? Wait. The gravity is as if increased by 10 folds all of a sudden. This is unreal. Naruto collapsed to his knees and trembled in trepidation. The sudden pressure was powerful yet non-threatening. He could feel it. Shifting gazes from the soil of the forest to the source of the pressure, the blonde's eyes widened in shock. Standing not far away from the boy was an old man with an oversized white haori hung loosely over his shoulder and a wooden cane that he held in his hand. What truly amused Naruto was the ludicrous beard the being had grown on his chin that looked so bizarre. The old man stepped forward and lightened the spiritual pressure that he emitted and eyed the blonde. What are you doing in this forest, child? Naruto finally managed to breathe properly after the sudden heavy force of gravity seemed to diminish. I apologize for my intrusion, child. I shall repeat once more, what are you doing here? Bringing courage to the surface of all emotions, Naruto replied. I don't know, sir. I had woken up in this place with no memories of how I ended up here. The blonde gulped the nervous lump in his throat and waited for the stranger's response. The old man surveyed the boy's injuries and sighed in sympathy. This boy was only 5 and had already died in a gruesome death. Was it because of the influence of the Kyuubi that clouded his murderers' minds? Or was it fear that tainted those fools' judgment that made them harm this defenseless child? So the reports were right after all. Flashback. Yamamoto Soteishu, we have received reports from the 12th Division that the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Yoto is dead. It seems that after his death, he released a significant high spiritual pressure that crushed his surrounding in an instant. The Soteishu opened an eye and pondered. Such high spiritual pressure and only just died. That isn't possible. It might be the Kyuubi's doing. After a moment of hesitation, the old captain questioned. How did the detector qualify and rank the volume of Ryatsu released? On par with a Fukutechu, sir. Very interesting. How did the boy died? He was beaten to death, sir. Predictable. Jinchuriki wasn't acceptable in the world of mortals. I won't be surprised if one of those slipped into the realm of insanity and massacred humanity to extinction. Yamamoto slammed his cane to the ground and spoke. Inform the squad that I will be leaving to Earth. During my visit, hand my duties over to my lieutenant. And do inform my household to make preparation for a guest room. The old captain signaled dismissal and drew out a sigh. Underscore. End of flashback. Come and sit beside me, child. Yamamoto Soteshu sat on a log and gestured the boy to the vacant spot beside him. I will not harm you. Trust me and do what you're told. The boy nodded and sat beside the stranger while fidgeting his fingers nervously. So tell me, child, how has life treated you so far? The boy sulked upon hearing the question and studied the soil. Comprehending the boy's body language, the old man tilted his head and stared at the colossus trees in the forest. None need to be spoken. So, do you wish to come to a place where fate will not neglect your very existence, child? Naruto twisted his head to the stranger so fast that surprised even the old captain. Is that true? Will I be accepted? Do I get to be treated equally? Can I make friends with others without being scorned? Do I still need to search for food from trash cans? Frowning at the boy's questions, the Soteshu ruffled the boy's blonde hair. No, you will not be suffering the terrible fate you endured in this world, child. If you accept my proposal, I will bring you to the Soul Society and train you personally. Of course, you will be sent to the Shinigami Academy to strengthen and control those massive amounts of spiritual pressure you possess within you and received proper education. Naruto pondered over the stranger's statement, dumbfounded by what he was told. In fact, he didn't even understand one bit of what the old man was speaking of, but the fact remains that the proposal seemed to be something the blonde had ever wished for. To be acknowledged. Do you accept my proposal, child? Why, yes. The stranger smiled and performed the kanso with the tip of his cane. Before Naruto's soul dissipated entirely, the boy stared at the stranger and flashed a cheerful grin. What is your name, Gigi? Jinryusai Shigakuni Yamamoto. I will be waiting for you in Soul Society, child. Naruto Uzumaki. I'll see you soon, Gigi. As his statement was spoken, his soul had already completely vanished, leaving only a trace of sparkling spiritual particles floating in the air. It seems that this child will find greatness in Soul Society. I can see the hidden potential within the child. It wouldn't be a surprise if this child exhibits an extraordinary strength. His future may be obscured by the fogs of uncertainty, but it would be without a doubt that this child possessed the ability to change the future in a tremendous magnitude. I hope that my decision today will not lead any regrets. Underscore. 8 years later, Naruto, 13 years old. Stay put, young master. Don't let him escape. Capture the monstrosity before old master comes home. Thunderous footsteps stormed throughout the entire Yamamoto mansion. Guards, panicking their stance of defenses while occasionally checking the surrounding vicinity, were paranoid over a certain blonde prankster. After the boy who was adopted by the master of the Yamamoto mansion was brought to the household, the once gloomy atmosphere was enlightened to a thrilling yet joyous ambience. Hell, even the great Yamamoto Soteshu laughed often ever since Naruto Uzumaki arrived to Soul Society. It was something rare the servants of the mansion or squad members ever witnessed, the great leader of the Shinigami laughing at a mere child's antics. Underscore. Flashback. This is your new home now, Naruto. Naruto stared at the compound in awe. The entire estate's garden might as well be called an enormous botanic garden. The various beautiful yet rare florists were evidence. In the middle of the magnificent view of nature stood the mansion with the Yamamoto's emblem imprinted on the front wall of the building. Approximating the surrounding vicinity, the entire Yamamoto's compound may be as vast as half the size of Konoha. The blonde surveyed the mansion in excitement and stared at the old man. The look he gave the old captain was as if asking approval to either wreaking havoc or familiarizing the scenario. Comprehending what Naruto was trying to do, Jinryusai nodded, and in an instant, the blonde adolescent sped off to the garden and starting to explore his new environment. While the hyperactive blonde was laughing and running around the field, a servant approached the old captain. "Is this our new guest, Yamamoto-sama?" "Yes, he will be living with us from today onwards." The servant widened his eyes in disbelief. Living with us? You don't mean... I have already filled in the necessary paperwork in order for Naruto to be trained under my tutelage, and of course, he will be my adoptive grandson. Adoptive grandson? Is there a problem? None, sir. I will be making arrangement for young master to settle down here and spread the word of the arrival of our new young master. Please do so. He will be a handful, though. Hi. If you may pardon me, sir, why would you decide to adopt that boy? The head captain responded with a chuckle. I see the boy in me back when I'm at his age. Months later. Please open the door, Naruto-sama. Yamamoto-sama will be upset if you skip your meal again. You can't train vigorously all day and don't eat, Naruto-sama. A female brunette servant knocked on the door continuously, but unfortunately, no reply was returned. Yes, young master. Please don't lock yourself in your room all day, Naruto-sama. It is unhealthy. Another brunette servant pleaded, but in no avail would Naruto respond. What is going on here? The two servants jolted up and spun around in surprise. Yamamoto-sama. Both servants exclaimed in unison. Naruto-sama has been skipping his meal again. He refuses to open the door and insists us to leave him alone. What should we do? Hand me the food. I will deliver it to Naruto personally. The servants did what they're told and passed the tray of food to their old master in utmost politeness. Jinryusai stared at the plate of food and sighed. It seems that Naruto still couldn't fully adapt to his new environment. It is only logical that the child still deem us as untrustworthy due to his traumatic past. Leave now and continue your daily work. Hi. The servants bowed in respect and left. The old captain waited until he's alone and shifted his sight at the door before him. Naruto. It's me. Open the door, I would like to talk to you. After a few seconds passed, audible footsteps could be heard within the room and gets louder and louder until it came to a complete halt. The door cracked open and the blonde popped his head out of the door. Gigi. May I come in? Sure. Naruto opened his door and allowed his grandfather to step into his room. Jinryusai placed a tray of food on the table and sat on the chair his grandson made dedicated for him. The blonde had declared the creation of the chair a tribute of his adoptive grandfather's kindness. Although the chair wasn't crafted perfectly, but in the old captain's point of view, the determination and effort spent on the chair was enough to turn a mere log to a fine masterpiece. What is this I heard about you refusing your meal again, Naruto? The blonde chuckled nervously while scratching the back of his head. Is nothing. I was just a little sick so. Sick? Do you require Unohana Taishu's attention, or do you need me to bring Unohana Taishu's apprentice, Isane, over here to check on you? Last I heard, the two of you seems to be quite friendly with each other. The blonde blushed. There is no need to call Isane-chan or Ba-chan here. I'm fine now. Really? Naruto sighed. No. What's the matter, Naruto? Is the service unpleasant? Are the maids mistreating you? Tell me and they will be punished accordingly. No. No is not that. Is just. Well, I just can't trust them, yet. When I was alive, kind offering was impossible to me. I have to fend off myself from lies and deception from those villagers that hated me for reasons that I'm not even aware of. I used to ask myself what I did to deserve those harsh treatments, but never found an answer. In a blink of an eye, and I'm the young master of this mansion. If this is a dream, I really don't wish it to end. This is not a dream, Naruto. You're now Naruto Uzumaki Yamamoto and the sole heir of my legacy. But why would you give me such important tasks to me? I don't understand at all. Do I deserve it? Naruto's grandfather laughed. I have been captain for centuries before you're born, Naruto. My predictions of one's inner strength will never be wrong. Deep within you lays a power that I have never seen before. A power far greater than having achieving Bankai. P-power? Greater than achieving Bankai? Naruto repeated, puzzled over his grandfather's statement. It was true that upon arrival, Jinryusai taught Naruto the rules and regulation existed within Soul Society and how those laws kept balance and equality to every soul. Although laws were filled with flaws, it was also the guardian of peace that kept dangers at bay. After a boring session of laws, the old captain told Naruto about the existence of Shinigami in depth and the requirement to achieve both Shikai and Bankai. Ever since then, Naruto had always wished to become a Shinigami. Yes. Deep within the core of your soul lies a power that is only exclusive to you. It is the power to place his or her hope entirely on you, Naruto. That is something nobody has. Naruto blinked. I don't get it. How does that make me dash? I have placed all my hope in you. Trust me, Naruto, that you're going to achieve greatness and you'll fight for your own justice someday. My justice? Yes. Everybody has their own justice. The justice of saving countless of souls. The justice of serving the law. The justice of fighting for what's right and wrong. You'll soon find your own justice to preach for. Naruto placed a hand on his chin and contemplated thoroughly. I know what's my justice, Naruto declared in delight. The old captain arched an eyebrow. The justice of protecting the one I loved. The adoptive grandfather laughed. End of flashback. It took the blonde years before he could shave all of his fear and accept his status of being the adopted grandson of the captain commander of Soul Society. Even so, he behaved completely opposite of how a noble should behave. In contrast to standard noble's characteristics, the blonde had no desire to flaunt his title as the honorable grandson. Instead, he spent his time training or visiting Rakangai than wasting precious time bragging about his social status. While he was in one of his carefree moods, a little prank will brighten his day. And the prank he pulled off a few minutes ago forced him to hide on the roof as usual. Watching the guards attentively, he sighed in relief when the guards left the surrounding. Throwing his hands over his head, he laid on the ceiling while chewing a blade of grass. I think painting all the walls pink will surely piss them off all day. The blonde smirked and grabbed the orange book under his sleeves that he found in one of his grandfather's drawer, opened a few pages, and used it to cover his eyes from the bright sun rays. A little nap will be nice. Indeed. Impressive feats for a child like you to be able to paint my walls in such stealth that nobody notices it until the very last moment. Truly impressive. But I certainly hope you could scrub off the paints from your little escapades, Naruto. The blonde bolted up and eyed the intruder who was standing beside him. Killjoy. Here I am, thinking that I managed to fool everybody and you just have to show up and ruin the admiration I had for my plan, GG. Naruto pouted and folded his arms childishly. The old captain let out a hearty laugh and smiled. Trust me, Naruto, that it won't be long before you manage to prank the entire Soul Society. It would be rather entertaining to see Siriidiite soaked in pink, but as a responsible Shinigami, I assumed you would clean up any mess you made. Realizing the hint, Naruto arched an eyebrow. You mean? I have enlisted you into the academy. With my recommendation, you will not need to participate in any entrance exams. I have already informed them of your skills, and the academy is willing to offer you a place. From tomorrow onwards, you shall be one of the freshmen of the academy. I have faith in you, Naruto. Yay! I'm a Shinigami finally. Naruto did what a hyperactive boy would do, hugged his grandfather in joy. Next day. I will make you proud, Gigi. Believe it. Naruto had dressed into the standard male academy student's uniform, blue shitage, a white kosode and blue hakama. The Soteishu laughed and ruffled his grandson's hair. Indeed you will. Now go and make some new friends. I will be waiting for your good news. You bet. The hyperactive adolescent waved his goodbye and dashed towards the academy. Youth. The old captain chuckled as he stood at the entrance of the academy, waving back to his grandson before strolling towards his own division. The academy will never be the same. Jinryusai couldn't help but kept laughing at the predicament the academy will soon face. Life certainly will be very interesting after all. This place is freaking huge. Naruto walked through the hallway while examining every single corner of the place. Portrait of previous and current captains of the Godii 13, painting of famed influencer of the Soul Society and sculpture of brave warriors served as decoration all over the entire academy. Not to mention, the walls and ceilings were built with professional dedication. Every designs and patterns on the wall were made with decent proficiency. Wow, even these floor tiles were made by those rare trees that Bachan showed me when we went mountain climbing to collect herbs. Gigi must have spent an awful amount of time building T-. All thoughts were interrupted when something hit Naruto and the blonde fell to the ground. Naruto rubbed the sore bruise on his forehead and whined. Ow. What the? Watch where you're going. What? That's my line. You bump into me first. Nah. Last I checked, you're the one who bumped into me. And what's with your purple hair anyway? Is that even a natural color? Well, I'm not the one who has whisker marks on my cheeks. I'll have you know that this is birthmarks. Well, they look pretty crappy. And your purple hair looks like flowers sitting on dog shit. Everybody grasped and the volume of the hallway dropped dramatically to a dead quiet. A tear swelled from the girl's sunglow eyes. Do you know who I am? No. And I don't care. Why you baka? The pair exchanged glares. Naruto glanced at the girl's attire, standard female academy student's uniform which consisted of a pair of red hakama and red shitage instead of blue. So much for my first day at school. Naruto mimicked his grandfather's sigh and wrestled to stand up on his feet. After dusting himself, he offered a hand to the girl. A silence intruded within the hallway. The girl blinked. Come on, get up. I don't have all day. But I'm hurt. And my leg, cram. Without a single hesitation, Naruto swept the girl up from the ground, bridal style. What are you doing, baka? You guess? Bringing you to the sick bay if there is any around. Why do you want to do that? All right. Listen, I think we got off from the wrong foot. I'm sorry for bumping into you and insulting your purple hair. Naruto then leaned in closer to the girl's face and studied the girl's facial feature. Now that I have a closer look, you're pretty cute with that short purple hair of yours. The girl flushed 5 different shades of red while the oblivious blonde grinned. And I'm sorry for accusing you from bumping into me and mocking your birthmarks. Naruto chortled. I'm Naruto. What's your name? Why Yoruchi Shihouen? In the midst of confusion between Naruto and Yoruchi, nobody was aware that a pair of eyes hiding behind a pair of black spectacles had been watching the entire scene unfolds under the shadow. And that's chapter 1 over. Second chapter, Maelstrom in campus. Where is the goddamn sick bay in this academy? Naruto had been searching endlessly for his destination for what seemed like hours. Turning towards another corner, he found himself ended up in the entrance of the girl's bathroom. Great. The blonde shifted his sight towards the girl he was carrying. Hey, Are you new here? Yup. Today is my first day. Damn, that means we're lost. I'm only familiar with where my classroom is, but not every single room in this damn campus. Naruto spun around, only to freeze in his steps when he came face to face with the person standing in front of him. I was passing by and I accidentally heard the conversation between both of you. It seems that the both of you are lost, aren't you? Let me, the great princess of the Shiba clan, assist you pathetic fools. Naruto bellowed in fear. Keiku-chan. Yoruichi exclaimed in joy. Kukaku. Hey. That's right. So dumbass like you is allowed to come into the academy, huh? Well, knowing who your grandfather is, I guess that only makes sense why you're able to end up here, Narubaka. Hey. I'll have you know that Gigi enlisted me here because of my strength. I'll show you what I'm capable of. Believe it. Yeah, right. You can't stand 5 minutes in battle with me. That's not true. Why, you're a girl. It's only natural for me to hold back. Naruto protested. Really? Do you want me to kick your ass during Hakuta class? The blonde dropped his head in defeat. No. Good. You're gone, Dash. Hey. I'm here, you know. Yoruichi crossed her arm angrily. I hate being ignored. The Shiba heir walked towards the Shihoan princess, placed her hand on her chin, and studied the comical bruise on her forehead. Wow, you're gonna be disfigured, Yoruichi. What? Yoruichi's eyes glinted in panic and horror. DD disfigured? Yeah, by the looks of it, that bruise might become a permanent scar. Beads of sweats had already formed on Naruto's temples as he witnessed the sadistic nature of Kukaku came to surface. I guess even the greatest medic ain't gonna heal that scar of yours, Yoruichi. Scar, I am past Dash. Stop spouting nonsense, Kuchan. As long as I'm here, I'm not going to let Yo-chan has any scar on her forehead. Believe it. Tightening his grip, Naruto scowled, his face was filled with determination. Meanwhile, Yoruichi blushed when she heard her shortened name. Hang on tight, Yo-chan. This is going to get a bit dizzy. D-dash. The pair vanished into a gust of jet stream as Naruto sped across the vast yet elegant hallway. Kukaku sighed and shook her head as distant scream of fear could be heard from both crowds and a certain heir of the Shihoan clan. Always the reckless one, that Narubaka. 10 minutes later. Well, since you're all healed up, I guess my job is done here. See ya. Naruto walked towards the exit of the sickbay. Wait. The blonde halted his steps and whirled back. Yeah? Yoruichi looked fixedly at the ground, her hand tightened into a ball and her face flushed a bright red. Thanks. Beaming a cheerful grin, Naruto replied. No problem. I owe you an apology anyway. It's the least I can do. Waving a goodbye, Naruto vanished into blow of gentle breeze, leaving a flabbergasted Yoruichi pondering over the blonde. Then a question hit her. How in the world did a newbie know Shuenpa? Naruto materialized in front of his classroom from his shumpo. Peeking into the door, the blonde sighed in relief as class hadn't started. Ambling into the room, Naruto earned several glares from several nobles. Being the carefree person he was, Naruto dipped his fists into his pockets, ignored those threatening glares, and walked towards his assigned seat, only to be stopped by several taller men. Hey punk, this is the prestige class. Another man stood forward. This class is reserved for nobles like us. Dope like you should stay in those classes meant for losers like you. Naruto arched a questioning eyebrow and smirked. Is that so? I guess trash like you can only see the cover of the book and not the content of it. What did you say? One of the nobles seized the blonde's collar while several other nobles had already surrounded Naruto. We'll make you pay for what you said, punk. The spoken statement only earned the intimidators a frown from Naruto. Really? Within split seconds, Naruto grasped the offender's hand from his collar and gave it a squeeze. The man screamed in agony as he heard a sickening crack from his wrist. Naruto applied more pressure in his grip and grinned malevolently at the noble whom struggled in pain. Weak, very weak. The blonde shook his head in disappointment and threw the noble off to the back of the class. Without any slight delay, Naruto sent a kick to another noble who was about to tackle him and his assaulter sword towards the other end of the room. Reacting to impulse, the blonde sidestepped a fist that was aiming at his face and thrust his knee into the attacker's gut, launching the man to the ceiling. Before another punch was delivered to Naruto's back, the blonde had already sensed the danger coming and ducked the blow while at the same time elbowing his enemy's rib. Grinning manically, Naruto drew to his full height and slowly whirled around, eyeing the last trembling noble who was insulting him a few minutes ago. If you attack me, I'll dash. You'll what? The blonde licked his lips sadistically. His grin broadened. Are you going to call mommy? You know what I hate most? People who judge others based on mere preconception. Naruto glanced around the room. Horrified and admiration faces were directed at the blonde while his assaulters were lying around the room, groaning in pain. The blonde then fired a glare at the particular noble who had just wet his pants. Smirking at the noble's fear, Naruto walked casually towards the noble. Stop it now, Naruto. The blonde blinked. First day in school and you're creating trouble already. Naruto shrugged and dusted his hand. Can't blame me, Kuchan. I don't find trouble, they find me. Kukaku placed a hand on her hip and turned towards the scared noble. Bring your mates to the hospital and while you're at it, dry off your pants. The man paused. But Kukaku-sama, he dashed. Get moving, you worm. The noble yelped in fear, grabbed his unconscious friends and fled. Bunch of losers. Kami-sama to heaven with God. What the hell happened here? Yoruichi stepped into the room and examined the wrecked space. Cracked walls, broken blackboard, and a chaotic mess of tables and chairs scrambled around the room. What really caught the Shihoan heir's attention was a particular blonde standing in the middle of the mess with a smirk plastered on his face. Naruto? What are you doing here? Yo-chan. Well, this is my class. Yo-chan? Now that I remember, that's the pet name he gave her when I met them in the corridor. Did Narobaka know Yoruichi beforehand? Why didn't I know anything about it? You're a noble? Yoruichi asked. Maybe. Kukaku took the opportunity and intervaled the conversation. Class is about to start, so get your asses to your seats. Sensei will be pissed about this. Naruto nodded and sat on the nearest chair while Yoruichi sat beside her childhood friend, Kukaku. Feeling slightly uneasy about the disorder of the class, Yoruichi leaned closer to her friend and whispered. What the hell happened here? Did a rampaging monster come to our class? Kukaku couldn't help but smirked and pointed a finger towards Naruto. To answer your first question, he did this mess. The Shiba princess folded her arms and exhaled. To answer your second question, a rampaging monster did come to our class. Yoruichi widened her eyes. What? The monster is him. Who? Narobaka. Who else? Yoruichi was shocked that a freshman could actually create such hectic mess. What did he do? The usual. Trashing several losers all by himself. Are you serious? Is he that strong? Wait a second, what is his full name? Kukaku looked at her friend in disbelief. You mean you didn't know his full name? I thought the both of you are in some sort of intimate relationship. The Shihoan princess blushed. Shut up. We bumped into each other in the hallways. That's that. So what is his full name? Kukaku shrugged. Naruto Uzumaki Yamamoto. And so, Yoruichi's jaw dropped upon hearing the name. An hour of boring lecture later. The class trailed after their sensei to their first Kido class. In all honesty, the sensei arrived in the classroom an hour ago and was merely amazed of the mess in the classroom. When asked why the sensei wasn't angered at the culprit, the sensei simply shrugged and said, "It's Uzumaki, what do you expect?" The answer sent the whole class into confusion, except a smirking Kukaku Shiba. Everybody tailed after the sensei while trying their best to avoid a certain blonde, afraid of his rage after witnessing the blonde single-handedly defeated several men. Yoruichi walked beside her childhood friend while unconsciously catching a few glimpses of Naruto's back. She was indeed curious about the blonde. "Hey Kukaku, how did you know about Naruto?" Yoruichi whispered. The Shiba heir arched an eyebrow and smirked. "Oh? Did a certain purple-hair girl fall in love with a blonde knucklehead? I am not in low dash. But I didn't say anything about you." Kukaku teased and giggled at her best friend's scarlet face. All right. I won't tease you anymore. The truth is, we know each other since young. He was still a naive baka and often gets in trouble. Since we're neighbors, I have to save his ass every time. Soon, we become partners in crime and started our adventure of pranks. That's all. Oh? Why didn't I hear anything about him from you when we hang out together? Yoruichi frowned. Are you hiding things from your best friend? Why, yes. I deserve my own privacy, you know? Are you intending to stalk me, Yoru-chan? Batting eyelashes, Kukaku whispered seductively. Are you in love with me? I'm not a lesbian. The Shiba princess flinched. She totally didn't see the sudden outburst coming. The sensei shook his head in dismay. The class was giggling and Naruto was choking in laughter. Yoruichi hid her face behind her hands in embarrassment. I hate you, Kukaku. All right, maggots. I'm your Kido instructor and I hope you kids have learned the basic of Kido and their chants. If either one of you has forgotten the chant, the basic, or having the spell blown up in your face, then you're going to detention. Do you hear me, fools? Hi. Good. Now line up and wait for your turn to demonstrate your skills to me. Yoruichi and Naruto stood in the back of the queue. The Shihoan heir never fidgeted nervously in front of anybody. She was the future head of her clan, the future pride and honor of Soul Society, and definitely the future successor of her father's status as the captain of the 2nd Division. Somehow, in the presence of a certain blonde, she couldn't help herself but flustered. So Yo-chan, how is the sore on your forehead? Does it still hurts? Oh? Don't worry about it. It's just a little bruise. Nothing that minor will affect me. That's good to know. Hey, I'm really sorry about calling you a flower seeding on dog shit. My mind was in a mess and wasn't really being level-headed. If I had known that I have bumped into a beauty like you, I wouldn't be calling you names. You know, bad habits die hard. Naruto scratched the back of his head nervously and let out a nervous chuckle. Yoruichi smiled and waved a hand dismissively. Like I said, it's all right. No worries. I'm glad. Is your turn now, Shihoan? Naruto leaned forward and whispered. Good luck. Unknown to the oblivious blonde, Yoruichi was controlling the urge to blush. She failed miserably, though. Thanks. Now perform the shikaho. The instructor exclaimed. The Shihoan heir stepped forward and raised both of her hand. Damn it. I'm not really good in Kido. Here goes nothing. Ye Lord, mask of blood and flesh, all creation, flutter of wings, ye who bears the name of man, inferno and pandemonium. The sea barrier surges, march on to the south. Wave of destruction, number 31. Shikaho. A blinding red light flashes on both of Yoruichi's palms, and seconds later, a blast of crimson flames burst to life, soaring towards her target and destroyed the target into smoking crisp. Yada! I did it! Yoruichi jumped in joy and froze when she was unexpectedly hugged by a certain someone. Congratulations! You're awesome, Yo-chan. Thanks. Yoruichi was taken aback by Naruto's touch that she almost fainted into a blissful oblivion. Meanwhile, Naruto released his grip and flashed a feral grin at the Shihoin air. Now it's my turn. Awakened from her daze, Yoruichi nodded and retreated while Naruto took a step forward. The blonde scanned the training field and stroked his chin. There are 5 identical targets spread approximately at a same diameter. Since this is a training lesson, then I might as well take this seriously. I'll use this chance to perfect my accuracy. Naruto dragged out a cloth from his sleeves and blindfolded himself. Obviously, his action raised questions among the students. What's that blonde doing? Is he using Shikaho without looking? Ha! I bet he's just a show-off. What's Narubaka doing this time? The blonde raised a single hand, spread his fingers widely, and aimed his palm at one of the targets. He muttered, Shikaho. His palm effulgent a bright crimson and instantly blasted a barrage of red flames consecutively at all of the targets, demolishing all of it perfectly. As the flash of crimson glow dimmed, smoke started to arise from his palm. Naruto removed his blindfold and gave his surrounding a scrutinizing glance. A bit off. Well, that's good for now. Naruto dusted his hand off and ambled towards his class, unaware of an astonished group of students and instructor eyeing the blonde. What the fuck just happened? Did he do that with just one hand without the chant? This guy's a total nutcase. Awesome as usual. The blonde sat in his seat and yawned, unknowing that a certain purple hair girl was staring at him. So the rumor is right after all. Naruto Uzumaki Yamamoto. He is indeed a prodigy that descends to Soul Society every millennium. I mean, look at the Kido he just fired. It's as if he was pulling that stunt without breaking a sweat. And he's only at the same age as me. There are already such huge gaps that lie between us in terms of strength. I wouldn't be surprised if he graduates the academy less than a year. I must keep an eye on him. The students arrived to their next class and examined the spacious green field. Hey kids! Welcome to your first class of Shuunpa as freshmen. I'm your instructor for this year's first-year Ho-Ho class. Now let's seat in a circle, shall we? Comprehending the instructor's gesture, the class sat in a semicircle while facing their teacher. All right, who would like to tell me what flash steps are about? A student raised his hand. The ability to increase our speed? The instructor shook his head. Not really, but nice try. How about the blonde over there? Everybody turned towards the only blonde in the class. What? The instructor's sweat dropped. Are you paying attention? No? And I twitched. You don't need to be that blunt. My question is, do you know anything about flash steps? Naruto simply shrugged and answered. A skill a Shinigami require for survival. Shuunpa allows an individual to either attack flawlessly in surprise or protecting one from a possible danger with a perfect execution with other combat arts. It isn't all about speed, but rather how fast an individual can move from one place to another in the least amount of steps, hence flash steps. The instructor paused for an awkward moment and clapped. Good. That's the answer I'm looking for. Speed is not just a factor in flash steps. The coverage of steps taken for one to travel from one destination to another is also important. I have already set up today's course. I hope to see every single one of your flash step skills. The task is simple. All you need to do is to perform only a single flash step. I wish to inspect all of your skills in order for me to determine who's capable and who's not. Don't try cheating, cause you guys will be wearing a special strap made by the Academy to calculate both distance traveled and the amount of steps taken. If you couldn't perform it, please raise your hand and I'll give you guidance. For those who knew the basic of flash steps, please line up one by one and wait for your turn to showcase your skills. Half the class stood and the rest remained seated on the grass. Those who stood had gone to the instructor and took a black strap. After collecting the strap, they tied it around their feet and proceeded to stand in a line. Strangely, Yoruchi and Naruto were the last one in the queue, again. Guess we get to be the last one to show off our skills, huh, Yo-chan? Hell yeah. The Shihoin clan is famed for our mastery over Shuinpa. I won't lose to you this time, Naruto-kun. Upon realization of what she called the blonde, Yoruchi blushed. Fortunately for her, Naruto was quite dense and didn't notice anything. Damn it! Why do I feel hot every single time I talk to Naruto-kun? What's wrong with me? Get a grip, girl. We'll see. Naruto shot her a feral grin, which Yoruchi returned with a smile. As time flies, it was Yoruchi's turn. Good luck, Yo-chan. Thanks. The Shihoin heir stepped forward and braced herself in a readied stance. When the instructor blew his whistle, Yoruchi channeled all of her Ryatsu into her feet and darted across the playing field in a sonic blur. Notified that only a single flash step was permitted, she came to a complete halt after she made her a step and spun around to check how far ahead she ran. Wow! 50 meters. I broke my old record. The highest in our class is only 20 meters, and that's Kukaku. The rests are hopeless. So much for a prestige class. Yoruchi smirked and performed a Shuinpa back to her original post. Naruto clapped in excitement of her achievement. Wow! You're as surprising as ever, Yo-chan. I flashed to impress. Yoruchi winked and strolled back to the group while Naruto traveled towards the takeoff booth. On your mark. Naruto yawned. Get set. The blonde smirked. Go. As soon as the instructor gave the signal, Naruto had vanished and morphed into a current of airstream. Everybody grew silent and tried desperately to search for the blonde. One of the students threw a hand over his eyes and narrowed his sight, only to see a distant figure waving at the group. Hey guys, look. The student pointed at the waving figure's direction. The instructor took out a binocular and trailed after the pointed direction. When he spotted the blonde figure and calculated the distance traveled, he dropped the binocular in shock. Impossible. 130 meters? He just broke the Academy's historical record. Everybody grasped. Yoruchi fainted. Sensei. That guy must have cheated. The instructor grabbed his device, rubbed his eyes and studied the gadget's meter. That's not possible, the strap has only detected a step. It's lunchtime now. This is my chance to know the full extent of Naruto-kun's true power. With his skills, he should be a seated officer in the Gotei 13 by now. If I play my strings right, I might be able to persuade him to join our clan's Amatsukido. He will be a great asset to us. To top that, he's cute. That'll serve a decent bonus. Yup. I've him join us. Yoruchi chirped happily and skipped all over the campus, desperately trying to locate a certain blonde. The Shihoin heir eventually reached her objective and found the blonde seating under the shadow of a tree. Approaching the blonde, Yoruchi noticed Naruto scribbling down notes from scrolls and books. That's not what I expect someone like him to be doing at a time like this. The Shihoin princess wondered. Yoruchi shrugged and walked towards Naruto. When she was about to greet the blonde. Hey Yo-chan. What are you doing here? Naruto muttered, never leaving his eyes away from his notes and scrolls. How did you know I'm here? I sense your suppressed spiritual pressure when you arrived. I must say, you got some decent amount of Ryatsu there. The blonde stopped his work, put his pens down, and looked up with a smile. Are you going to sit, or are you going to stand in front of me all day? Yoruchi blushed and sat beside the blonde. She glimpsed through the book and took cognizance of what Naruto was reading. Why are you reading books about the bijou? You know that they're myths, right? Naruto looked at her and smiled. Well, I'm interested. Fair enough. Yoruchi opened her bento and sniffed the aroma of the food hungrily. Baked salmon served with lemon dressing and jasmine-fragrant rice, yum. Mom sure knows how to pack my favorite. The purple-haired girl devoured her food greedily and noticed that Naruto wasn't eating. Curious, she tapped his shoulder. Yes? Why aren't you eating? I have finished my sandwich already. Thanks for your concern. Naruto smiled and continued his work while Yoruchi noticed several plastic wrappings lying on the ground beside the blonde. The Shihoan heir resumed consuming her food while unconsciously staring at the blonde. Come on, think of something. I'm supposed to be engaging him in a conversation. I need to know more weight. I know. Yoruchi swallowed her food and broke the silence. So, do you like reading? The Shihoan princess slapped herself mentally. Damn. What a stupid question. Gigi forced me to like it. I just read them out of curiosity. I see. So, what is your like and dislike? Any hobbies? What are your dreams and goals? Naruto shut his books abruptly and fixed his sight at her with a smile. Where should I start? I like mountain climbing with Bachan during weekends. I like training with Eroji-san and Yukitake-sensei as well. And I enjoy gardening and taste various different types of ramen flavors. I dislike people who judge others solely on a biased outlook. Naruto placed a finger on his chin. Hobbies, huh? I like gardening, training, and pulling pranks on others. I don't really know what my dreams and goals are. Maybe upholding my justice, perhaps. Yoruchi blinked. Your justice? Yup. What's that? To protect those I loved. The Shihoan heir broke into laughter. You're funny. Hey. What's wrong with me and my justice? You ask about it first. Meanwhile, where did Narubaka go? And where is Yoruchi? Kukaku wandered around the academy and spotted a blonde along with a purple-head seating under a tree, sharing laughter and smiles with each other. Immediately, the Shiba princess hid behind a wall and giggled. I see, so the two are having some secret intimate relationships after all. Taking out a camera from her pocket, Kukaku sneered evilly. This will be great blackmail material. Back to Naruto and Yoruchi. So, enough about my hobbies. What about yours? What are your likes and dislikes, your dreams and hobbies? Yoruchi scratched her temples and thought. I like training, oranges, and fish. I dislike formalities. It's creeping me out. My hobbies are probably the same as my likes, training, eating oranges, and fishing for fish. My dream is to be the captain of the 2nd Division as well as being the leader of the Amatsukido. Wow, you have great plans. Expected for people like me. Yoruchi announced proudly before recalling the blonde mentioning several training partners and got curious. So, who's this Eroji-san of yours? And who's Yukitake-sensei? I swear this Yukitake rings some bells, but I couldn't remember. Naruto stared at the cover of his books in deep contemplation while the Shihoan heir continued eating, waiting for the blonde's response. Eroji-san and Yukitake-sensei are like an uncle figure to me. They trained me in the variety of the Shinigami's combat field. Let me tell you, their trainings are madness. I'm surprised that my soul is still intact with me. But you know, great achievement comes great sacrifices. Naruto smiled warmly at the girl seating beside him who was listening to him with rapt attention. I have already lost counts how many times I died in their hands. Yoruichi choked. Did I? Yeah, and trust me, the things I gone through is something that you don't want to be having. If it wasn't Bachan who healed me day and night, I will be dead. The Shihoan heir widened her eyes. Your uncles are mad. It's all good. They got their ass kicked by Bachan afterwards. I still owe Yukitake-sensei though. Eroji-san shows no mercy in training, so tends to get carried away. Yukitake-sensei saves my ass all the time. Naruto sighed. Anyway, answering your question. Yoruichi leaned closer to him. They are the captains of the 8th and 13th Division, Kairaku Shinui and Yukitake Jeshiro. You kidding me? Yoruichi yelled. Trust me, it's not really a good thing having a perverted uncle as your tutor and forcing you to peep in the local bathhouse for the sake of activating hormones. You don't know the troubles that come with that. Don't get me wrong, life is fun with them. You got a weird bunch of family members. Naruto shrugged. I guess so. Licking her lips, Yoruichi threw her empty bento box and stretched. My father is too busy with his squad, so he rarely shows up at home. Sometimes, I even forgotten how he looks like. Understandable, and you can get out now. Yoruichi blinked in confusion. What? The blonde turned towards the bushes behind him. You know, it's not nice to eavesdrop other people's conversations. A man bolted up from the bushes. Yoruichi inspected the stranger. Obviously, the stranger was an academy student, judging by his outfit. His black squared spectacles and brown hair gave him a decent appeal. I'm truly sorry. I was passing by and didn't mean to listen to your conversation. The man walked towards the blonde and offered a hand. I'm Aizen Sosuke. It's a pleasure to meet you, Naruto Uzumaki Yamamoto. Naruto narrowed his eyes and gritted his teeth. This guy, he's suppressing all of his power just like me. If I'm not wrong, his Ryatsu is as high as mine. Chapter 2 end. Third chapter, a little spar. I'm Aizen Sosuke. It's a pleasure to meet you. A gentle breeze blew past as Naruto and Aizen exchanged gazes. Both were scrutinizing each other's latent power. Yoruichi gulped nervously as she witnessed both, the blonde and the brunette, staring each other in an awful quietness. It was getting uneasy for the Shihoan heir as she could feel both contestants of the staring showdown gradually releasing their spiritual pressure. Birds chirped, bushes rustled, and the wind blew. Yet, no sound could be heard from both Naruto and Aizen during their staring competition. The blonde smiled and shook the offered hand. I'm Naruto. This guy is suppressing all of his spiritual pressure, just like me. He's dangerous. Something about him is not right. The aura he kept with him is as if kind and threatening at the same time. Only Bachan could do that. Behind that scholarly look hides a terrifying monster. Wait, he might be a Jinchuriki? But I can't really smell or detect any sense of Biju, so I guess he's not. If that's the case, then he's indeed a prodigy or something more. Why didn't you address your whole name? Naruto blinked. Why not? It's polite to declare one's full name. Well, having people know too much about me won't be good for health, isn't it? Why is that so? As the question was asked, a gargantuan volume of spiritual pressure crashed into the earth, startling Yoruichi. This Ryatsu, it belongs to Naruto-kun. Has he been hiding this much of power? It's choking me. The Shihoan princess grasped herself as she suffocated from Naruto's spiritual pressure that washed over her in a tremendous intensity. Her body limped in all mobility except trembling in fear. Yoruichi was fighting the urge to fall unconscious as the unbearable amount of pressure rained on her. 'Cause they'll quaver in fear once they hear my full name. Naruto snuck a side glance at Yoruchi and noticed her discomfort, which he immediately eased his released spiritual pressure to a halt. When Yoruchi was able to breathe properly, Naruto turned to Aizen and smiled. Besides, it wouldn't be much of a surprise in battle if the enemy knew about my identity, right, Aizen-san? Indeed. To think that he doesn't even flinch a bit when I release my Ryatsu. I gotta get Yochan out of here. Naruto packed his scrolls and notes into a small backpack, stood up and gracefully curled his hands around Yoruchi's waist, carrying her in a bridal-style fashion. If you may excuse us, we got some private matters to handle. Naruto whirled his attention to Yoruchi and flashed a feral grin. Right, Yochan? His words sent shivers up the Shihoin princess's spine. Why yet? See ya, Aizen-san. The pair disintegrated into an aftermath of sand dust tailing after their traces, leaving Aizen staring at their departure. Remember this, Naruto Uzumaki Yamamoto, if you're not with me, then I will kill you. The brunette adjusted his glasses and gave a malicious grin before vanishing from the sight. What was that for? Yoruchi screamed. I'm sorry, Yochan. He was a threat, so I dash. Don't you ever do that again without informing me. She hissed vehemently. It was a tight situation. If I gesture dash. Consequences be damned. The blonde yelped. Hi. Where are we? Naruto blinked and scanned his surrounding before giving Yoruchi a cheesy grin. On the roof? Roof? What in Kami's name are we? Put me down. Abiding order, Naruto gently placed the Shihoin princess down. After patting dust off their clothing, Yoruchi shot Naruto an angry frown. Why did you rush off so hurriedly? That guy was just trying to be friend dash. Yoruchi. The Shihoin heir winced. As far as she knew, Naruto had been addressing her as Yochan all along. He looked serious. Yoruchi opened her mouth for a response, but shut back at the blonde's untypical silence. Naruto didn't speak and left a long sturdy gap of silence between their conversations. His fist clenched tightly and presented Yoruchi a rare look of concern. Take my advice and don't go near him. Naruto narrowed his eyes, sparking authority to his tone. He's dangerous. Trust me. Yoruchi blinked and waved a hand dismissively. Come on. What makes you say that? Naruto didn't respond to the question but instead tilted his head and stared at the white clouds hanging idly in the blue sky. My instinct. The bell ranged, indicating the end of lunch. Naruto and Yoruchi jumped to the nearby tree from the roof and ricocheted from there to the wall of another building before descending to the ground. Being a challenger, Yoruchi decided to compete with Naruto. A simple game of tag with the Shihoin heir being the escapee and the blonde Yamamoto heir being the tagger. Surprisingly, Naruto never caught Yoruchi. Because, throughout the game, his mind had been influenced and taken over by a certain pervert. Even though she's only 13, she has a sexy butt. It's round and shaped in the most perfect way. Shaking his head, Naruto cursed internally. Damn Eroji-san. I'm being training and peeping with him too much. If this goes on, I might become a super pervert like him. Meanwhile. Achoo. Shunsui wiped his nose. Seems like somebody is spreading their love to me out there. I'm disappointed, Naruto-kun. You got the best Shoinpa in our class, and yet you lost to a little girl like me. Yoruchi folded her arms and swayed her hips as she walked towards their next class. Naruto, whose innocence had been completely cleansed away from him, couldn't help but ogled at the Shihoin princess's swaying hips. I believe I deserve the title as the Foz Naruto-kun. Are you listening to me? Yoruchi turned to her back and found the blonde drooling. Further inspection, she realized that Naruto was actually staring at her hips. Smirking with evil intentions, she ambled towards the dazed blonde and snaked her arms around Naruto's waist, letting out a seductive purr in the process. "Are you looking at my butt, Naruto-kun?" Naruto nodded dumbly. "Are they cute to you?" The blonde nodded again. "Do you want to touch it?" "Yeah and oh." Naruto finally awoke from his daze and unloosed Yaruchi's grip. Resisting the temptation to touch that soft and tender butt, Naruto ran towards a wall and slammed his head straight on. "Wa Naruto-kun." The blonde slumped against the wall while clutching the bruise on his head. Taken aback by Naruto's rashness, Yaruchi ran towards the bond. The Shihoin princess crouched beside the blonde with concern and panic written all over her face. "What in Kami's name are you doing?" "Ouch, sorry. Bachan taught me this technique whenever my mind is filled with certain ideas." "Wow, I don't know who your Bachan is, but I think she wanted to end your life." "No, it's just the fastest way to remove certain thoughts from my mind. And she hated perverts, so." Yaruchi laughed and lifted Naruto up. "I'm sorry for teasing you, so stop doing that. You're just going to shorten your life if you keep slamming your head on a wall. It can't be helped. I'm brought up by a woman who scorned perverts with a passion. You really should show me this Bachan of yours someday. She's funny." Rubbing the sore on his head, Naruto's lips curled up to a grin. "It's all right, you should know her anyway. I heard that she's quite popular among Shinigamis." Yaruchi raised an eyebrow in curiosity. "Oh? Popular? I know her. Who's she?" Naruto simply shrugged. "The captain of the 4th Division, Uno Hanaretsu." The purple hair girl tripped. Naruto and Yaruchi had finally arrived to their next class's venue. Glancing into the room, the duo opened their mouth in amazement. For an indoor dojo, the pair was truly fascinated by the sheer size of the training hall. "Get in line, children." Naruto recognized that voice. "Gigi?" "Naruto, get in line with your girlfriend." Yaruchi blushed. In the group of students, Kukaku smirked. "I knew the both of them are in some intimate relationship or some sort. We're friends only." Naruto and Yaruchi yelled in unison. "Whatever you say. Now get in line, you two are late." "What are you doing here, Gigi? Aren't you too old to be a teacher?" Everybody widened their eyes in terror. Never had anybody dared to address the great leader of the Shinigami in such informality. It was said that the captain commander wielded the most powerful fire-based Zanpakuto, and nobody had ever surpassed the sword's power. In battle, the ancient captain was more than just a force to be reckoned with. He was supposedly a god of war among Shinigami. The group started muttering, sharing gossips among themselves. Why is a mere freshman speaking in such an impulsive voice to Yamamoto-sama? He's insane. That's the most powerful captain in history that Dobe is talking to. Is that idiot that dumb? Why is he calling him Gigi? Everybody gawked as the scene unfolded. Appearance has no relations in terms of power. I have thought you better, Naruto. The blonde snorted. Whatever, Gigi. I'm going to kick your sorry ass to the moon this time. Believe it. The class shrieked in horror. The old captain laughed. Foolish imbecile. That's what you said every time we spar. You know better than anybody what the outcome will be, Naruto. Naruto crossed his arms childishly and pouted. Now stand with your class so I can give you a warm welcome to your first Hakuta lesson. The blonde arched a brow. Hakuta? I thought somebody like you will be teaching Zanjutsu classes instead. I'm a substitute. Naruto smirked. I can see that. The blonde whirled around, grabbed the stupefied Yaruchi's wrist and dragged her to their class, who was currently babbling about Naruto. Seeing how Naruto engaged a conversation with the great leader of the Soul Society's military force stunned Yoruichi to her feet. She knew about the fact that Naruto was the grandson of the legendary captain, but didn't expect him to be speaking casually, especially not in front of a class. Hell, she wasn't even allowed to speak rudely with her parents either at home or in the public. Naruto-kun is quite surprising. Yoruichi sat beside the blonde and whispered, "Hey, do you talk to your grandfather like that?" Naruto gave her a confused expression and shrugged. "Yeah. What's wrong?" "And nothing, just alien to me. I never speak to my parents that way. My parents drill formalities and traditions into my mind all day. It's choking my life. I know. I've seen Kuchan with her family. Her parents are dead serious at everything every time. It's no wonder she has an aggressive ego. At the same time." Kukaku sneezed. "Some bastard must have been talking about me." Yoruichi giggled. The old captain slammed his staff to the ground, catching everybody's attention. "Now, do ignore the juvenile conversation I had with my foolish grandson over there and let us proceed to our lesson in Akuta. Before we commence in our session, I would like to welcome you to Shinori Jetsuin, otherwise known as the Spiritual Arts Academy, where we trained you to be a fine assets for the greater good of Soul Society." A boy raised his hand. "Yes, child." The boy pointed an accusing finger at Naruto. Why did that guy over there able to speak to Yamamoto-sama in such a crude manner and escape punishment? Because he's my grandson. Does that answer your question, child? Why, yes. Now, as I was saying, Hakuta is the basic art of close combat. In Hakuta, physical strength, skills, and reflexes are the fundamental prerequisites in the art of hand-to-hand combat. As you have all known, the Shihoin clan is famed for their extraordinary skills in this particular field of combat. Yoruichi smirked in pride. But that doesn't necessarily mean Hakuta is essential for being a Shinigami. Hakuta will come in use when you're disarmed or engaging in a battle when Zanjutsu isn't permitted. For that, I would like to have 2 volunteers to display the fine arts of Hakuta. Who would like to come up on stage? Everybody was uneased by the request except an unfazed blonde and an excited purple head. Eager to showcase her skills, Yoruichi raised her hand as well as raising Naruto's. "Naruto and I would like to participate." "Wait. I didn't say that I want to be part of this. Are you scared of a little girl like me?" Yoruichi batted her eyelashes innocently, furthermore, placing a finger on her lips for extra effects. All right, fine. I might regret this." The Shihoin heir laughed and dragged the blonde away from the class. "Remember, children, this is only a friendly spar. And Naruto, don't kill her." The whole class stared in confusion. "Hey! Show no mercy to me, Naruto-kun. I'm not afraid of you." Naruto sighed. "I really don't want to do this." The blonde cracked his knuckles and pulled out a grin. "But well, let's do this." Standing within the audiences, Kukaku shook her head. "Narabaka's gonna lose. That idiot's too soft to be fighting girls." The captain commander slammed his cane onto the ground. "Begin." Naruto and Yoruichi had disappeared from their respectively stances and appeared in the middle of their arena, fist connected with fist. The collision of both fists sent a shockwave in the hall. Trained like a warrior, Yoruichi didn't leave any slight hesitation and seized the blonde's wrist before throwing him, launching him to the back of the dojo. Damn, she's strong. Naruto knew that it was impossible for him to decelerate by the solid toss, so he decided to wait before impacting on the wall. Prior to being slammed to the wall like a ragged doll, the blonde did a somersault in midair in order to reverse the position of his body and thrust his feet onto the wall instead, cracking the wall in the process. Unknown to many, Naruto had gathered Reisure into his feet, preventing any possible injuries while at the same time creating potential energy through the wall from his feet. Releasing all of the stored Reisure at once, Naruto burst into speed and darted towards Yoruchi. She waited for him to get to the distance she wanted before leaping into midair and gave the blonde a roundhouse kick. Before her foot made contact with Naruto's face, the blonde vanished and reappeared behind Yoruchi, pummeling her to the ground with a double axe handle. Yoruchi screamed in agony as she crashed onto the wading ground while Naruto landed beside her. Want to Kadash? A pair of slender hands surged up and clutched the blonde's shoulder. An unanticipated foot blitz upwards, kicking Naruto in the chin and sent the blonde skyrocket up the ceiling. Yoruchi disappeared from her crash site within seconds and was already above Naruto. A single delay wasn't wasted with Yoruchi giving Naruto a backflip kick. The blonde groaned in pain as he smashed onto the wading floor while Yoruchi dropped gracefully beside Naruto. Everybody grasped at both of the competitors' strength. Want T-dash. Naruto's presence had already manifested behind the shocked Yoruchi and gripped her shoulders, yanking her to the opposite wall of the hall. The blonde morphed into a gust of airstream, hurling towards his opponent and appeared atop of Yoruchi. Sensing a fist coming her way, Yoruchi countered the approaching strike with her own fist and swung an uppercut. Naruto instantly disappeared in a sonic blur before the attack was delivered. Yoruchi managed to shuinpa before crashing onto the wall. Surprisingly to the audiences, they were standing in the exact same spot where they had started the battle. You're strong, Yo-chan. As expected of the future queen of the Shihoin clan. Flattering will get you nowhere. Naruto dusted his clothing and gave Yoruchi a feral grin. Want to know a secret, Yo-chan? The Shihoin princess arched an eyebrow. What is it? Actually, I have poor Ryatsu control. Really? I'm doubting that. The execution of your Hado spells during our Kido class somehow contradict what you're saying. It's true. One must be efficient in controlling one's Ryatsu in order to prevent the spell from blowing up. I have no talent in Kido actually. It is all thanks to Bachan and Gigi's extensive training that I finally managed to grasp the concept. So, to overcome my flaws, I train very hard in Kido. Strange. I see no relevance to what we're doing here. You do know that this is a Hakuta class, right? Ignoring Yoruchi's question, Naruto continued. There is a reason why I have difficulties in controlling Ryatsu. A student from the group beamed his opinion aloud. Because you suck? The class started laughing, except Yoruchi and Kukaku. The Shiba princess narrowed her eyes. Fools! That's not the reason, you dumbass. The reason is dash. Naruto swirled his sight at the student who voiced his opinion. Not really. A massive amount of spiritual pressure crashed into the dojo, washing over the students and sending them to their knees. Naruto smiled. It's because I have too much Ryatsu for me to control. The blonde turned his attention back to Yoruchi before depleting the Ryatsu he released. As I was saying, although I have no talent in Kido, I do have talent in another field of combat. Upon realization, Yoruchi widened her eyes. You mean? Yup. That's right. I love hand-to-hand combat. It's my favorite because besides Zenjutsu, I'm quite good at it. But of course, I can't compare my skills with yours. Yoruchi placed a hand on her hips and snorted. Are you mocking me? And no. I'm speaking the truth. You're amazing, Yo-chan. The Shihoin princess flushed a vibrant shade of red and staggered. D.T think FF flattering W will make me S show mercy on YU. Okay then. Let's end this, shall we? Next blow will determine who the winner is. Sounds good to me. Both readied in their stance. The class, which managed to overcome the tremendous wave of Ryatsu, gulped as they are about to witness the aftermath of the battle. Yoruichi roared out a war cry and dashed towards Naruto. Naruto made a taunting hand gesture and smiled. Come. Nearing her opponent, Yoruichi jumped, followed by a flying dropkick. Her feet pummeled into Naruto's face, storming him into the ground. The adoptive grandfather sighed. Naruto, your soft tendency on women will someday be your downfall. Kukaku bit her bottom lip. Damn it, Narobaka. I knew you will rather stand there and get the blow than to hurt Yoruichi. Yoruichi landed onto the wading floor and stared at Naruto in disbelief, whom was currently lying on the ground, twitching and groaning in pain. What really happened? Nearing her opponent, Yoruichi jumped and delivered a dropkick. Naruto, seeing the approaching assault, moved his head slightly and flashed Yoruichi a joyful smile. Yoruichi, who was stunned from astonishment, knew that she had lost the battle. Her opponent had seen her attacks, and a simple sidestep along with a series of punches would simply end the battle, proclaiming Naruto as the winner. But that didn't happen. Naruto desisted from retaliating and instead moved back to his original stance and allowed her foot to connect into his face. Naruto-kun. Narobaka. The girls rushed to the fallen blonde's side while the audience chattered about the outcome. Hey, he's a dope after all. He's only a big talk. The idiot is nothing but a fool. What does he think he is? Challenging a Shihoin. Yeah, he's asking for his grave. The Shiba and Shihoin princesses shot the class a vicious glare, halting any jabbering to a dead silence. Damn it! Narobaka. I knew this will end like this. Kukaku, you know, that Naruto-kun will. Of course I know. I spar with him all the time. He always hesitates like a stupid bitch. Naruto coughed and smiled weakly. I just can't do it. Shut up, Narobaka. Quick, Yoruichi, we've to send him to the nurse. It's all right, children. Naruto will be okay. Jinryusai interjected. But Naruto has withstood injuries far worse than these. The fatal injuries he received from training and mission simulations are undeniably deadly compared to a little scratch from a friendly spar. Have faith in him. Look. The girls turned their attention to Naruto's wounds, which were healing in a rapid pace. How? Now aid him back to the group. And thank you for your demonstration. Both of you deserve a rest. Hi. The girls threw Naruto's hands over her shoulder and walked him back to the class while muttering of insults directed to the blonde could be heard. As you have seen from Naruto and Yoruichi's brave demonstration, Hakuto requires both superior initiative and quick strategies to overcome your enemy. An individual who has power but lacks the knowledge of executing their attacks are as useless as an individual having no power at all. A brute rampaging in a battlefield will only die a meaningless death. A tactical approach in battle will not just improve your skills, but at the same time, increase the chances of victory by folds. While the old captain was giving his speech, Yoruichi and Kukaku was busy tendering to Naruto's wounds. You should have dodged instead, Naruto-kun. Yoruichi's face expressed both guilt and solicitude. Don't worry about it. I'll be fine. Stupid Narobaka. You get me worry, you know. Hey, didn't know you're the worry type. Don't make me smack you. Yoruichi smiled warmly at her best friend's antics and glanced at Naruto. You're a strange person, Naruto-kun. There is this invisible force attracting me to you. Your kindness and cheerfulness really enlightened me. Perhaps in time, I might fall in love with you. Not possible. A person like me wouldn't be able to feel what's love all about. Maybe you will, the girl will be lucky to have you as a boyfriend. You're definitely a boyfriend material. Yoruchi giggled inwardly. Perhaps in the future, she might actually take back what she thought. Only time will tell. Chapter 3 End. Chapter 4 Confession of a Broken Dream. Naruto stood at the gates of the academy, inhaling the scent of the campus. A ghost of a smile curled from his lips and his eyes focusing on memorizing the layout of the enormous structure. The wind was gentle, cooling the warm moisture on his skin. Placing a hand over his eyebrows, Naruto glanced at the sun touching the horizon of Soul Society. It's a long day. I guess a little training in the woods will do me good. Nodding at his own decision, Naruto walked leisurely towards his destination, completely unaware of a nearby wall hid a certain purple-haired girl who was currently spying at the blonde. I must disclose the true reality that is, Naruto. His prowess surpassed all of us to an impossible degree. I must uncover his full power. Naruto ambled to the forest via a long course. Instead of taking the alternate route, which was simply heading towards the vague view of the mountains existed within outermost region of Rakangai, Naruto took the longest path and traveled around the poorest district of the city, playing with the local children or buying groceries for the impecunious families suffering from mere poverty. Obviously, his actions brought Yoruchi loads of questions. Where is he going? He has been here for the entire afternoon hanging out with those brats and grannies. The Shihoan heir wiped the sweats on her forehead and continued spying on the blonde from the roof. She waited patiently for the blonde to resume his journey. For hours, Naruto would browse stores by stores and engaged in a steady conversation, with laughter in between, before leaving. Well, at least I know he's good with kids. He'll be a great father in the future. Yoruchi blushed as her annoying thoughts flooded her mind. Shaking her head vigorously, the Shihoan heir mentally screamed. No! Got to concentrate. Yoruchi sighed in relief when Naruto finally left Rakangai and proceeded entering an isolated forest. What is this place? The Shihoan princess gulped and followed the blonde in a safe distance, ensuring that the blonde teen she's following wouldn't be able to sniff her presence. Naruto traveled into the deepest realm of the forest. As he continued walking, the blonde tilted his head and smiled at the sparkling stars shining in the night sky, accompanied with several dark clouds barely visible from the darkness. I'm almost there. Twack. Pausing in his steps when the mysterious sound was heard, Naruto shut his eyes and focused on enlarging the range of his spirit awareness radar, only to spot a particular familiar spiritual pressure behind him. A smile crept up on his face. I must be stupid not to notice her following me. Stupid twig. Yoruchi mentally cursed. He stopped in his tracks for a while and continues walking. I think he didn't notice me here. He probably pauses because of the damn twig. Hopefully. Upon approaching to the destination, Naruto halted in his steps and surveyed the beautiful lake ahead of him. The shallow lake was designed by nature with a waterfall pouring torrent of water to the lake while pebbles surrounded the water. Noticeable to the eyes, the water that flows to an outstretched distance seemed to glitter under the reflection of the stars. The flowers that grew beside the lake only enhanced the brilliant gleam of the lake. In the forefront of Naruto's mind came an assuring thought. I think Yo-chan can look. It's not like Shikai is easy to obtain and she probably don't know what I'm doing anyway. Is he learning Shikai here? Yoruchi wondered while she climbed her chosen tree that could allow her to admire the view and at the same time, able to speculate Naruto's doing. Seating in a meditating posture above the lake with enhanced Ryatsu control, Naruto opened his palm wide open and allowed his eyelids to shut gently. After a moment, a current of wind spiraled around the blonde's hand and a katana manifested. Acting by reflexes, Naruto gripped the red hilt of the sword while his rigid posture remained above the water. The blonde teen opened his eyes slowly and looked at his reflection from the cold blade of his zanpakuto. This guy still isn't telling me his name. Naruto whispered. And yet I can feel its power flowing within me. Focusing his mind into a calm state of conscious, Naruto dived into his mindscape. Hey, anybody here? Naruto stood on a white cloud while occasionally sneaking glances of what's below him, a mist of emptiness. There was nothing but a bottomless abyss filled with a thick fog that obscured vision. The blonde examined his mindscape. He was merely standing atop of the atmosphere in the bright blue sky, decorated with several platforms shaped into gargantuan chunks of clouds. Naruto yelled, "Hey, come out now!" A violent burst of jet stream flooded the surrounding, and a powerful Ryatsu was lingering in the air. It wasn't long before a white dragon descended from a binding ray of light, seemingly the celestial dragon enthroned in the innermost realm of heaven within Naruto's mindscape. The great lizard landed in front of Naruto with a growl, its piercing blue eyes eyed the blonde. Its wings spread to the fullest, accelerating a series of shockwaves across the mindscape as the dragon flapped its wings and massive hurricanes soon formed beside the blonde. "You have come back again, brat." The blonde shrugged. "I have to." "State your business and leave." "What business do I have besides asking your name?" The white dragon didn't speak and allowed a silence to intrude. "So, what's your name?" Naruto's heart was racing in excitement. Adrenaline pumped to the max as the blonde awaited a response from his Zanpakuto, who was inspecting the features of his wielder. The hurricanes and typhoons that sprang to life a while ago gradually lost its strength and eventually dissolved into a harmless breeze of wind. Noticing the calmness of his mindscape, Naruto spoke. "What is it? You want to know my name? Are you worthy to know my name, brat?" Worthiness comes from the quality of one's action. My worthiness can only be proved to you if you trust me. Well answered, brat. How do you want me to prove my worthiness? The dragon stared through the core of the blonde soul and glared at the tenant within the boy. The Zanpakuto could feel the snicker coming from the fox. I see. So Kyuubi didn't die after all. His soul remained intact with the boy, but in return for his longevity and survival, his power flows within the vein of this boy. The last few attempts of the boy coming to his mindscape proved to be a failure since the boy didn't hear my name, but I wasn't aware of the fact that my wielder is the Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox. It's no wonder that this boy gained such prodigious power from both the Kyuubi and his hard work. Naruto waited patiently for a response, aware of the fact that the dragon was in a state of deep consideration or analyzing his latent potential. Breaking the silence, the dragon spoke. Very well, tell me what you will do after gaining my power. Without a slight hesitation, Naruto replied with confidence. I will protect those I loved. To what extent? To the death. Why do you fight so hard for those people? Naruto smiled. 'Cause they cherish me. Are you willing to lay your life for an innocent life? No doubt I will. What if I tell you that all of these that you're being fighting for are all but a dream? Then I will fight for the dream. Will you love this dream? I will. And I will treasure it till I awake from my slumber. The dragon was amazed by the rapid responses it received. The tone was filled with confidence and truthful sensation. You do know that I am part of you. For your words are truth or lies, I will know. So, am I lying? The dragon pondered for a moment. No. You have indeed gained my trust from your words. Braced yourself, boy. Naruto gulped. The celestial dragon roared. Never hesitate in battle. The white clouds tainted in black. Soon, raging thunderstorms and furious hurricanes came to life. The berserker winds rushed across the mindscape, howling in anger while the blonde stood firmly in his stance, unfazed by the sudden changes. Naruto clattered his teeth as the wind's temper decreased dramatically. Enraged tornadoes drew nearer to the blonde while the dragon's gaze fixed on the blonde. Never fear in battle. The words echoed through the wind, voicing over the entire mindscape. Never quaver in battle. Shutting his eyes, Naruto felt a sudden surge of power overflowing into him. Protect those you love. Millions of typhoons accompanied with a stream of violent storm filled the mindscape. Slay those who harm what you protect. The white dragon let out a deafening roar. Listen well and clear, I'm the most powerful wind-based Zanpakuto. Now do me proud and hear my name. Yoruichi stared at the blonde who was surrounded by a torrent of raging winds. The air is changing. What's going on here? Has he achieved? Her thoughts were lost when an overwhelming volume of spiritual pressure crashed onto earth, pinning her in her spot. The Shihoan princess widened her eyes. A hurricane made by superior Ryatsu slammed into the blonde and enclosed the teen within the depth of the wind. Naruto opened his eyes abruptly. His pair of cerulean eyes glowed a flash of blue. The blonde stood up in the confined dome within the twister and clutched the hilt of his sword tightly. Rage of the heavenly storm. The airstream focused its path towards the sword while the blade swallowed the overflowing Ryatsu and wind. A moment after the sword devoured all of the Ryatsu released, Naruto sliced the hurricane and dissipated it into a wave of charging air blast. Fujin Hyogatsu. The tyrant of fury winds blasted through the entire forest, spreading the overwhelming force of Ryatsu across the woods. As those words were spoken, the guard of the sword ignited into flames and soon deformed into two identical dragons' heads coated with silver and remained adjacently opposite with each other as the latent guard of the Zanpakuto. The blade of the sword broadened in length and width compared to the unreleased form of the sword. Finishing the last touch of the design, the end of the hilt sprouted a shimmering silver claw. Naruto stared at his sword and smiled. I did it. As the raging winds calmed, Naruto lost all of his strength in standing and collapsed to the water. Yoruichi covered herself from the gashing wind rushing through her. This power. Peeking over her hands, Yoruichi stared in disbelief at the sight before her. The water beneath Naruto cycled him while a visible airstream revolved around the blonde teen. What truly amazed her was the fact that the blonde Zanpakuto had subsequently changed. Is that his Shikai? The Shihoan heir examined the released state of the blonde Zanpakuto. Emotions rushed through her as she engrossed at the aftermath of the blonde Shikai. Envy, excitement, and a little spice of jealousy inflicted her mind as she wondered how Naruto could achieve Shikai at such a young age. All thoughts were abandoned when she saw Naruto fell into the shallow lake. Instinct kicking in, Yoruichi landed to the ground and dashed towards the fallen blonde. Naruto-kun. D-damn, is this how people feel when they achieve Shikai? Naruto mused. Sweats formed on the blonde's temples while water droplets dripped from tip of his golden bangs to the lake. Slender hands hoisted the blonde's waist suddenly and dragged the teen to shore. Naruto was unable to sense any presences. It was as if somebody smashed the blonde's head with a rock. His headache was unbearable. Everything was swirling around him, and he could only hear grunts coming from his savior. When the hauling process stopped, Naruto felt extra weight dropping onto his chest. When the pain in the teen's head was gone, Naruto opened his eyes and found Sunblow Eyes returning gazes. Now it makes sense. Yo-chan was the one who was dragging me. I think I'm too worked up with the pain that I've forgotten Yo-chan was nearby. Yoruichi panted tediously as she lied atop of Naruto. What are you thinking? Sorry. Naruto replied weakly. The Shihoan heir took a deep breath before recovering from her exhausted state and growled. Don't do that next time. Naruto sat up slowly and surveyed the traces of his Zanpakuto from his surrounding vicinity. The blonde then realized that he had been holding onto his sword throughout the entire session and slapped himself mentally. Yoruichi turned and stared at his sword. So, that's your Shikai? Naruto smiled. Yeah. What does it do? Don't know. What do you mean you don't know? It's your Zanpakuto. Naruto chuckled. You expect me to know my Shikai's ability when I just got it a few minutes ago? I wish I can gain Shikai as far as Yaruchi paused and spotted various cuts on Naruto's body. Without delay, the Shihoan heiress tore out strips of cloth from her hakama and wrapped it over the wounded area. The blonde blinked. What are you doing? Nursing your wounds. Yaruchi answered in an unusual deadpanned emphasis without leaving her attentive sights away from the injuries. You got cut by your own Zanpakuto, that's funny. I guess I still couldn't control it. Something strange caught the teen's cerulean eyes when he accidentally snuck a glance at Yaruchi's exposed thigh and saw a tribal tattoo emblazoned on her beautiful yet smooth tanned skin. That tattoo. Yaruchi's eyes widened in dismay when she heard those words spoken and abandoned her current duties, instead focusing on covering her tattoo located on her thigh with her slim fingers. Her eyes glinted in both anger and hurt. You're not supposed to see that. She spat. Naruto threw his hands in the air. Hey, I'm sorry, but what's wrong, Dash? Yaruchi turned away. Her hands trembled in fear as she clutched the spot of her tattoo. This tattoo symbolizes my fate. The Shihoan clan's traditions are strict with all regulations made laws within the members of the clan. My mother gave birth to me, much to the disgust of the council of my clan. They think I'm not fitted to be the future leader of my clan and burned this tattoo in me because I'm a girl. Naruto frowned. That's right. Yaruchi clenched her fist tightly until blood was drawn from her nails penetrating through her skin. This tattoo engraved into my skin symbolizes the fact that I will be forced married to a possible old fart or the next Kuchiki heir, and I will have no say about it. I will be fucked dry and thrown to Rakangai after giving birth to my children. All for the sake of breeding potential offspring. Tears, relinquished from the control of bursting, flowed down the curve of her reddened cheeks. Remember what I told you about my dream? Succeeding my father is the only way out of this shit. I see. Naruto muttered under his breath, his golden bangs casted a shadow over his eyes. Yaruchi seized the blonde's collar and yelled. What do you see? You know nothing. You live in your life with no suffering. In that perfect world of yours, what do you know? Naruto snapped. His hand gripped her wrist abruptly, his eyes radiated a violent red, his canine teeth started to lengthen and his whisker marks deepened in color. The Shihoan princess's once angered eyes were replaced by fear. I know nothing? I live my life with no suffering? Perfect? Yaruchi flinched from the sudden intense killing intent Naruto was erupting. I went through shit far worse than yours. Let me tell you the story of a boy who died as a tragic hero, scorned by his people who hated him and murdered for things that weren't meant for him to control. Naruto softened his grip and stared through Yaruchi's terrified eyes. Once upon a time, there stood a village praised by its harmony and strength within its people. Everything gone wrong when the Kyuubi no Yoko attacked the village. The leader of the village knew that the demon was unable to be killed, so the only way was to seal it. But there was a problem. You see, the fox must be sealed into an infant who was just born. Coincidentally, the leader's son born the day when the fox attacked. Naruto closed his eyes and smiled darkly, his words drenched with anger. Unable to use other children for his sacrifice, he used his own son to exchange for the safety of the village. In return of the safety of the village, the leader had to sell his soul for the sacrifice to work. His dying words were to allow the village to see his son as the hero, the savior who brought peace to the village. The new village leader couldn't disclose the boy's identity openly and decided to name him an orphan. Unfortunately, the deceased leader's words were forgotten and the villagers scorned the boy with hatred. Naruto chuckled sinisterly. Yaruchi wasn't enjoying story. So much hatred was produced that the parents will tell their kids that the boy was a monster in disguise. The boy was lonely with no friends. The shop's owners knew about him and chased him out from their stores or sell him food that expired months ago with an unreasonable price. The boy accepted his fate while the villagers continued their little scheme with no remorse. The blonde sighed. Tell me, Yo-chan, how do you celebrate your birthday? Yoruchi arched an eyebrow. The tone of the question was laced with grief and sorrow. I celebrate with my father and mother. A birthday party with Kukaku sometimes. Why do you ask? The blonde smiled at the expected answer. That's very nice. The boy celebrated his birthday by getting beaten from drunks or mobs. The Shihoan heir grasped, but Naruto paid no avail to her response and continued. When the boy was 5, he was kicked out from his orphanage. It was snowing that day. He was freezing, hungry, and has no place to call home. Guess what? The boy died soon afterwards. The only question remains, how did the boy die? Why are you telling me this story? Naruto shifted his gaze at the grass beneath him. His eyes, they're so dead. Yoruchi shuddered. Because the boy is me. An eerie silence ended the story. The Shihoan princess was speechless. Perfect, you said? Perfect doesn't exist in my dictionary. As far as I'm concerned, my life in the world of the living is far more than perfect. Life got better when I come to Soul Society and I finally feel the warmth of family. How does it concern me? Yoruchi staggered in her words. Don't you get it? There are many lives out there far worse than yours. Do you think I gain my power out of the blue? I get what I have from years of hard work, so stop whining and start getting serious in your training. If you want to prove to those old bastards in your clans that they are wrong about you, then fight for it. Show them that you're not a damsel in distress. You're Shihoan Yoruchi. The Yo-chan I know for a day. And Naruto-kun. The blonde's fingers intertwined with Yoruchi's while a pair of cerulean eyes stared at her sunglow eyes. Let's train together, Yo-chan. Let's fight for our dream. Yoruchi could only nod. I'll not let those bastards do whatever they want with you, that's a promise. The blonde wiped the tears from the princess's eyes and caressed her warm cheeks. Feeling his exhaustion limit reached, Naruto lay onto the grass, his tired eyes shutting slowly while a ghost of a smile formed on his face. Yoruchi crawled beside the blonde and lay beside Naruto. Her scrutinizing gaze studied the facial feature of the blonde teen. So the book that you're reading this morning I'm still trying to talk to the fox within me. I never seen it in person, but I could feel it tapping its power into me sometimes. Why? Naruto raised a brow. Why what? Why are you telling me all these? The half-asleep teen smiled. 'Cause you spill me your story. Fair exchange. Why do you trust me? Are you not afraid that I will tell others about you? Naruto shifted his sleeping posture and cupped an ear while his body turned, facing Yoruchi. I don't know, but my instinct tells me that I can trust you in keeping my little secret. Don't worry, my instinct never failed me. As his statement was declared, Naruto had already fallen into the clutches of slumber, leaving Yoruchi to examine the peaceful features of the sleeping blonde. And there is this force attracting me to you. At this rate, I might fall in love with you, Naruto-kun. What have you done to me? Yoruchi whispered gently before falling into a deep slumber as well. Both were unaware of the fact that Fujin Hyogatsu had reverted back to its sealed state. The bright sun had reached the peak of its cycles, with all its glory, warm yet shimmering rays of light casted upon the sleeping pairs. Naruto, irritated with the bright sun, had awakened from his sleep. Opening a sleepy eye, Naruto saw the sleeping feature of Yoruchi smiling peacefully in her slumber. Carefully not to disturb the Shihoan heir's beauty sleep, the blonde sat up slowly and yawned. I see that you're awake, Naruto-chan. Naruto jolted in surprise and turned his attention to his intruder. His eyes widened when he saw a couple of familiar faces standing in front of him. Bachan? Why are you here? The blonde was rewarded with a smile that lurked a frightening killing intent. How many times do you want me to remind you? I will prefer you calling me Ka-chan. I will appreciate it if you'll be respectful, especially in front of others. Naruto quirked a smirk and shrugged nonchalantly. Sure do, Bachan. Retsu sighed. A man walked forward. Hey, that's not nice. You didn't greet me, Naruto. Hi, pervert. Said pervert tripped. That's not very nice to call somebody who trains you, Naruto. Sorry, Eroji-san. I will try to remember not to call you a pervert. So, why are the two of you here? Naruto widened his eyes in shock. Are you two dating? Retsu smiled. As much as I would like to settle down with a loving family, I'm afraid that Captain Kairaku isn't my ideal choice. Shunsui grabbed his chest in mock sadness. You wound me, Hana-chan. Suddenly, Naruto felt a stir beside him and found Yoruichi seating up while rubbing a sleepy eye. She's cute, N.O. Damn it. Pervy uncle's influence will soon turn me into a pervert one day. Naruto-kun? Who are them? Shunsui studied the girl and interrupted. No matter. Who are you, lovely young one? Are you by any chance my apprentice's girlfriend? The perverted captain winked at his nephew with lecherous intention, which Naruto returned with a hardened glare. I'm so proud of you, Naruto. You managed to scoop a girl first day at school, something that even surpassed your most glorious, most awesome, most handsome uncle, which is me. Wiping a fake tear off his eyes, Shunsui smiled. So, Naruto, what is your secret? The pair blushed. We're just friend. Yes, yes. Keep telling yourself that. Soon, she will be yo dash. Shunsui didn't finish his statement as a horrifying bloodlust flooded the atmosphere. Trembling in fear, the perverted captain turned to his back and found the entity that was the source of the leakage behind the killing intent. Hana-chan. Adorning an intimidating feature on Retsu's face, the female captain smiled. I will kindly request you to stop tainting my child's peaceful nature into yours, Captain Kairaku. Do I make myself clear? Everybody gulped in fear. Ichichai. Shunsui whimpered. Good. Young lady, I'm Unohana Retsu. This gentleman standing beside me is Kairaku Shunsui. It is a pleasure to meet you. Yoruichi widened her eyes. Pleasure is all mine's, Unohana-sama. Please, my dear, you're one of Naruto's friends, so just address me as Retsu-san. If you insist, you can call me Ka-ach. Bachan. Naruto interfered. What are you doing here? We got news that you have gone missing since yesterday and didn't return home. Your grandfather was worried but couldn't search for you personally, so he sent his guards to find you. I was nearby and learned about the fact that you didn't return to either the dormitory or home, so I was worried as well. Soon, news reported that they found an overwhelming spiritual pressure that belongs to you which appeared in this forest. We suspected that you must have been training hard, so your grandfather asked me to search for you first thing in the morning. Shunsui grinned and continued. We sense that you have achieved Shikai, judging by the amount of spiritual pressure detected by us. We're quite worried about you. I mean, even Jeshiro volunteered to search for you. So much spiritual pressure released might attract hollows, you know? You should have seen Hana-chan's face when Yamaji declared of your missing status. She was worried sick and in a nervous wreck dash. The temperature dropped dramatically as everybody felt a very disturbing chill crawling up their spine. A hand abruptly clutched the perverted captain's shoulder. Retsu smiled sinisterly before applying pressure in her grip, which resulted in a sickening crack and a petrified Shunsui. It would be pleasant if you choose not to talk about that, Captain Kairaku. Why yes. Great. I'm happy that the message sinks into you, Captain Kairaku. Retsu released her grip and turned her attention to the young girl before her. A peaceful smile curled up her lips as she studied the young girl. Say, are you Shihoin Yoruchi? Yoruchi nodded. Shunsui, recovered from the pain previously, cupped his chin with his finger. Interesting. You must be Captain Shihoin's daughter, aren't you? Yes. Naruto noticed Yoruchi's frown and decided to enlighten the mood. So, want to know what my Shikai is? Taking interest with the sudden question, both captains arched their eyebrows. What will your Shikai be then, Naruto-chan? Fujin Hyogatsu. Naruto beamed a cheerful smile. As the name was mentioned, Shuinsui's Kaiten Kayakatsu started to glow a deep purple and agitated vigorously. Eh? What's wrong? Shunsui was curious with the unexpected reaction from his Zanpakuto. Swiftly, he held the hilt of his sword and tried to calm his Zanpakuto down. This is strange. Kaiten Kayakatsu never reacts like this. It seems that your Fujin Hyogatsu might have a history with my Zanpakuto, Naruto. I might have to check the Zanpakuto library for some information regarding your sword. Kaiten Kayakatsu gradually reached a motionless nature, signifying its impassive state. Naruto was confused as he could feel fear emitting from his Zanpakuto. Why do I feel that Fujin Hyogatsu's fear is similar of a man running away from a woman he ditches a few centuries ago? Unable to receive any plausible answers, Naruto shrugged off his thoughts. Let's go home, Naruto-chan. Yoruchi-chan must be tired after taking care of you, right, my dear? Naruto nodded and turned his attention to Yoruchi. What do you say, Yo-chan, want to train with me? I can help you and you can help me. The Shihoin heir blushed. Does that pink cheeks means you accept Naruto's offer? The pervert captain teased. Then it's set. The blonde chirped. Chapter 4 end. Chapter 5 Jokes and Missions That Stupefied. 2 years later. Are you sure about this? Yoruchi muttered, clinging onto the tree. Because if this fail, we're screwed. Relax. This will be huge. An assuring grin curled at Naruto's lips as he clung onto the branch beside his friend. Midnight crimes always run smoothly. Trust me. Smooth? Remember that one time where you plunged food coloring into all the soaps within the Kuchiki clan? Jinrei-sama was pissed with his pink hair and punishes me for it. The Shihoin princess hissed, frowning at the unjust interrogation forced upon her from the egocentric Kuchiki elders whom would without any uncertainty flaunt their vainglory achievements to the world. It's all your fault I'm always end up in a mess. This sucks ass. Naruto delivered his trademark mock pout. I took the responsibility as well. Besides, that incident happened a year ago. Remind me, what are we doing here again? Yoruchi studied her environment, inspecting for any unwanted patrollers before turning her attention to the blonde beside her. We're in the Shiba clan's compound for Kami's sake. We've been through this for 5 times. Get into the main pipe of their toilet disposal system and jam it hard with marbles. Lots of marbles coated with glue. The blonde grinned at his splendid idea. How are we going to find the main pipe? Uneasiness drenching her mind, Yoruchi scanned her vicinity again before shifting sights at Naruto. You expect us to dig this huge garden just to find a single pipe? Naruto's grin broadened in a sinister way. Leave that to me. I'll already know where the pipe's location is. Hell, I even marked that spot. Raising an eyebrow, the Shihoin heir scoffed. Do you have any other hobbies? What? I overheard some servants fixing the main pipe a few days ago when I was playing shugi with Kyan. Then what are you waiting for? Lead the way. The pair dropped to the ground silently, taking a last precaution analysis on their surrounding before darting towards their destination. That night, the Shiba siblings swore they could hear a pair of evil laughter echoing throughout their entire household. The siblings were puzzled over the familiar terrifying voices. Shivers were crawling up their spines with tremendous intensity. Deep down within their heart, the Shiba siblings knew that a horrible scheme had took place and the culprit could only be a certain blonde. Naruto dusted his hands, a proud satisfied smirk plastered on his features as he strolled back to the dormitory with Yoruchi. The blonde snuck a glance at the Shihoin princess and was startled by the feline grin on her lips. It was much sadistically than the blonde's. Reminiscence of past experiences, Yoruchi always crept up an eerie smile after a prank was performed, albeit her disapproval on executing a gag initially every time Naruto sprang out an impish plan. How long do you think they will realize their toilet are blocked? Yoruchi cupped her chin in mock contemplation. I'll say within 2 days. I'll say tomorrow. Why will they dash? I put some medicine on their food beforehand. Naruto interjected. The Shihoin princess burst into laughter, clutching her stomach in the process. Kukaku and her brothers will soon come after you with swords and knives and some melodramatic stunts on their way as well. The blonde shrugged nonchalantly. Worth it. The pair guffawed until Yoruchi realized they're strolling in a narrow pathway accompanied with countless of twinkling fireflies. Aware of the isolated region, the Shihoin heir's mind was flooded with a mix of romantic and lascivious scenarios that flashes to her eyes occasionally. It was annoying her. Oblivious to the princess, Naruto had noticed Yoruchi's constant fidgeting and blushing cheeks. So, you're graduating tomorrow, huh? The purple hair princess broke the awkward silence. How do you feel? Relief, I supposed? At least I don't need to waste another 4 more years studying pointless history. How did you do it? I don't see you study at all. Gigi and Bachan's tutoring. So not fun. The blonde shuddered at Retsu's twisted punishment whenever Naruto unintentionally gave a wrong answer. Never in Naruto's life would he anticipate the kind captain of the 4th Division enjoyed whiplashing as a realistic way of lecturing her students. It was no wonder that Isane obtained a timid personality. Look at the positive aspect of life. You skip for years of your school life, literally, while we get crappy homework and an insolent sap as our teacher. Without you around, the school sure is boring. Yoruchi sighed, walking a line with Naruto in a steady pace. Hey, there's Kuchan. Mashiro-chan is funny as well. She's ditzy. Cute though. Naruto chuckled. Unknowing to him, Yoruchi felt an ache in her heart and swiftly regained her composure. Do you? Clenching her fist, the purple hair princess continued. Do you like her? Mashiro-chan? Yeah. I like her. Yoruchi's heart sank into the abyss of despair. As a friend. Naruto chirped. Her heart arose with illusionary blazing rays in her mind and squealed in delight inwardly. This is where we part, Yo-chan. Yoruchi casted away from her daze and stared at the buildings before them. Time was a bitch, the first disappointing issues that occurred to the princess's mind. Nervous at her current situation, the Shihoin heir tried to piece her hectic mind together and prayed for a miracle to emerge and delay, or hopefully, froze time. Her trembling lips urged her to say something, say anything. Naruto arched an eyebrow. You all right? I'm fine. All right then. Naruto embraced Yoruchi abruptly in a hug filled with affection before stealing the princess's first kiss. The Shihoin heir widened her eyes as she felt Naruto's soft lips on hers, astounded that the blonde actually took the passionate initiative instead of her. Yoruchi's mind sailed into a blissful oblivion when she realized that her juvenile dream of kissing her crush had came true. For what seemed like eternity, Yoruchi whimpered softly when the blonde broke away from the kiss. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, Yo-chan. Winking at the stupefied princess with a vibrant shade of pink on her cheeks, Naruto vanished into a breeze of gentle wind. WWE. A jeopardized mind filled with further erotic thoughts struck the rigid princess to her feet. Kensei, dressed in the standard academy uniform, crossed his arm and tapped his foot impatiently. What is taking that jerk so long? The silver-haired Shinigami groaned, frustrated with a certain blonde's lateness. What did I do to deserve this? At that exact moment, Naruto's frame manifested behind Kensei. Yo! Flinching at the sudden intrusion, Kensei spun around with a temperamental annoyance written over his expression. You're late for half an hour. Why can't you be on time for once? Do you have any idea what today is? It's not just a memorial of our life, it's not just a milestone of our achievements, it's the day that proved to others that we're worthy to be part of the elite of the Shinigami force. It's our bloody graduation day. Lifting both hands in surrender, Naruto sighed. Calm down. I was just packing for our mission today. We'll be graduating in 4 more hours from now. The blonde raised a perplexed brow. What do you mean? It's just a mission about investigating a teddy bear hollow holding hostages in Rakangai and a river reported with some supernatural crap. I think we should go visit the river. River? A hollow is holding hostages. Yeah, but I've already packed for fishing. Kensei sighed. You're weird, Naruto. In return, Naruto responded with a laugh. We're brothers for years, Kensei. You should see through my jokes by now. Let's kick some teddy bear ass, bitch. In an instant, the blonde morphed into a current of airstream, leaving an irritated silver-haired Shinigami behind. Stupid jerk. You kiss Yoruchi. Kensei spat. You jerk. You're the youngest to attain your own Zanpakuto, you're the youngest to graduate, and you get to kiss a princess from the Shihoin clan before me. What's next? Getting a promotion to be a captain. Naruto flashed a toothy grin. Don't be jealous, bro. You'll get your turn. Jerk. I should deserve some respect here. I'm the senpai here. A prideful smirk tugged at the silver-haired Shinigami's lips. You're getting your graduation at your 4th year in the academy while I graduate at my 2nd. You sure that is something to be proud of, bitch? Kensei's smirk dropped in defeat. I hate you. The blonde smiled. I know you do. The two Shinigamis ambled through one of the district of Rakangai that suffered abysmal poverty. Keeping in mind of the mission's objective, Naruto and Kensei would spare a quick inspection at the local shops before resuming their casual conversation. But, after an hour of searching, the partners were upset. Fatigue collaborating with vexation over an hour of fruitless journey was forcing the duo to resign on their mission. Naruto thought the mission would be pleasant. Get to their objective promptly, acquired the desired information, and report back to the briefing ceremony, yet the incompetent mission distributor didn't pinpoint any route for them to head, leaving the two Shinigamis wandering in the vast district of Rakangai. What really intrigued the duo to designate themselves into the particular mission was the fact that a hollow shaped into a teddy bear was living amongst the residents in Rakangai. That's what the mission stated, but it wasn't something they get to see every day. Fuck this. Naruto groaned. We've been walking for 1 hour, Kensei. 1 whole fucking hour without any results. Kensei sighed. 3 hours prior to our graduation. We're so late. Fixing his sight on the nearby group of girls, Naruto grinned. Hey, bro, I'll be checking some info from those chicks over there. You stay here and do, whatever you want. That's not fair. Why do you always get to talk to the girls, huh? 'Cause I'm the youngest. Kensei arched an eyebrow. Dude, we have this conversation before. I'm supposed to be the elderly brother figure. What do you mean? I get the chicks. Naruto stroked his jaw in a phony consideration. A moment later, Naruto stared through his partner's eyes with a smirk adorned on his face. You don't need to. Now stay here and be good. Jerk. Bitch. Naruto retorted with a snicker before skipping towards the group. Kensei, on the other hand, was pondering over their mission's objective while keeping tabs of their time. Watching his friend flirting with the opposite sex was beyond unsettling, but even more perturbing was the fact that the blonde often triumphed over him in terms of strength, wits, or social issues. Although Naruto never once discriminated Kensei's status as a commoner before enlisted to the academy, hell the blonde befriended him despite being a noble. His consistent defeats in their incessant strife of battle to become a worthy Shinigami was evoking his annoyance. Perhaps he is really a prodigy that comes every millennium. Kensei mused before tapping his foot, a habit of signifying his impatience. Unfortunately, he felt his sandal sticking into the ground. Raising his foot, he groaned in dismay when he saw a slick of gum attaching his foot onto the pavement. Kensei applied a little pressure by hoisting his leg to remove the gum from the ground, only for the remains of the offensive eyesore to glue onto his sandal. Great. The silver-haired Shinigami muttered sarcastically. My day keeps getting better. Kensei hopped with a single leg to a nearby hole beside the bush and rubbed the gum vigorously from his foot by the edge of the hole. Several failed attempts of peeling the gum, he finally succumbed to anger and vanquished his pent-up rage by pressurizing friction against his sandal with immense strength until his shoe dropped beneath the hole. Damn it! The silver-hair warrior crouched beside the crack and realized that retrieving his sandal would be futile. It was at that moment where Naruto returned from his information gathering. Hey, I know where the titty dash. Curiosity spiked the blonde's thoughts when he noticed Kensei's unusual slump of his shoulders and saddened features. What? I lost my sandal. Naruto's eyes traveled down to Kensei's socks, stared back at the silver-haired Shinigami, and shifted his gaze at his socks again. Sighing at his partner's predicament, the blonde Shinigami rolled his eyes and walked away. Hey. What about my sandal? Kensei, still without a shoe, stood beside Naruto outside of an apparent worn-out cottage. You sure this is where the rumored teddy bear hollow is? Bitch, are you doubting my info skills? I have my doubts, jerk. Kensei steadied the deteriorated outline of the house. So, what did those girls say about this again? Some preternatural stuff happened after a lake somewhere near here pop out a shark. They also mentioned some feisty arcane matters that you don't need to know. Naruto couldn't help but smirk lecherously when he recalled how those girls gave him the information with several suggestive winks and flirtatious smiles. Shunsui had officially messed him up big time. I don't want to know. So how did a shark mysteriously pop out from existence and start roaming in a river? From what I know, they belong to the sea, not a narrow lake that can't even fit its size. Naruto shrugged. Beats me. While the blonde was envisaging a devisable plan, Kensei's eyes bugged out in complete bewilderment when he noticed a bipedal bear staring at him before running back to the back of the house hastily. Whoa! Did you see that? Naruto arched an eyebrow and turned his attention at his friend. See what? A teddy bear. The silver-haired Shinigami pointed at the direction he spotted the creature. It wears a pink-maid outfit and a bonnet on its friggin' head. Pink-maid outfit and a bonnet? Dude, could you be more gay? Kensei blinked. Please don't answer that. Naruto sighed and knocked at the door. A few seconds passed and the door creaked open, revealing a young brunette girl bowing politely at them. May I help you? The girl asked. Naruto smiled. Hello. You know what, is there anybody home? Yes. My grandmother and Dash. By any chance, did you see a furry bear? Kensei raised his hand to eye level. This tall and dash. Is she in trouble? Naruto flashed a victorious grin at a smirking Kensei before collecting their fortitude. In all honesty, Naruto had sensed a hollow within the household when he expanded his Ryatsu radar. Surprisingly, the sense of the particular hollow wasn't foul or vulgar. That was totally unexpected, putting an account to the fact that hollow was beings consumed by the overwhelming negative aspects of life and twisted into mindless savages. She? Naruto questioned with his smile still intact. Can you show us her? Sure. The girl chirped. Oh, by the way, I'm Hinamori Momo. Mugiruma Kensei. Uzumaki Naruto. When the duo stepped into their house, they were struck in a complete stupor. It wasn't the tidiness of the house that stunned the Shinigamis, but rather the human-sized teddy bear serving tea to the supposing grandmother of Momo, whom was seating calmly on a futon. Astonished with the tranquility of the hollow, they stared motionlessly at the bipedal furry hollow with a mask shaped comically of a teddy bear appearance and dressed in a fancy-made outfit. Whoa, you're right. There was a bonnet on its head. Kensei raised a perplexed brow. I swear, you take notice on the strangest things. Ignoring his partner's comment, Naruto smiled at the girl. Do you know what this bear is? I'm a hollow. The bear spoke in a feminine voice. There was no ballistic hostility towards the Shinigamis in her gestures or malice laced in her tone. But I mean no harm to Momo-chan and Oba-chan. Kensei stared at the bear warily, ready to draw his sword when crisis assault. What makes you think we'll believe you? If I wanted to hurt them, they're dead by now. For what we know, Hollow has the constant urge to devour souls, am I right? The silver-hair warrior frowned when he noticed a feature of sorrow casted on the bear's expression. How can we trust you that the urge to eat won't cloud your judgment? I've already stayed here for months. All I require is a shelter and food. No souls are required for my survival. The teddy bear sat on her futon and took a sip on her tea. Unlike my brethren's, I don't desire souls. It was strange, but it's much refreshing to know that I won't turn into a creature that kills for living, literally. I merely stumbled into Rakangai with a friend of mine and Momo-chan finds me. Ever since then, I've stayed here and helped with chores in exchange for a home. Are you going to take Kuma-chan away? The young brunette intruded the conversation, a sad hint tainted her words. She is really nice, you know? She reads bedtime story to me every night and cooks delicious food. Please don't take Kuma-chan away. Momo-chan. Naruto sighed. Kensei, let's talk outside. Kensei nodded and followed the blonde. When the duo made sure that they're in a safe distance from the family, Naruto broke the silence. I'm afraid to say this, but I ain't killing that hollow. What? She's a hollow. I can't sense any lies in her words, and she doesn't smell evil to me. Doesn't mean she isn't. What's your point? You sure? Kensei sighed, unable to elicit the appropriate words. Are we going to kill this teddy bear? What? Slash it? Burn it? The silver-haired Shinigami shrugged. I don't know. Both, maybe? She's a damn hollow in a pink dress for Kemi's sake. You know what, I can't do it. I can't kill something that has no sense of evil whatsoever, even though it was supposedly labeled as evil. No way. Kensei tried to offer his opinion but was interrupted by his partner before proceeding any further. How are we supposed to be righteous if we killed her, huh? We are insane if we hurt her. You really think she has any motives or intention to hurt the girl or the grandma? 'Cause I sure don't think so. Then what do you think we should do, tell me? Naruto smirked disturbingly and Kensei didn't like what his best friend had in mind. I can't believe you let the teddy bear lives in the house. Kensei grumbled several obscenities under his breath and frowned at his partner. This isn't going to work. Forging our mission reports? What if we get busted? We're fucked big time if we're caught. Naruto raised a brow. Dude, calm down. 1. That girl promised not to reveal the titty's location. 2. The bear doesn't eat souls, most interesting case I've ever come across. And 3. If nobody says anything, who will know about it? You know what? The blonde grinned. I know, we're insane. Suicidal. Kensei corrected. Lack of any better words. Just shut your pipe hole, we're here. Naruto examined the lake before him. Defiled with waste, the river was dyed in a revolting green filled with decayed leaves floating atop the surface, and anomalous from the normalcy of a polluted river, a humanoid female was lying on the bank drenched with a pool of blood, her blood. The humanoid female's hand gripped firmly on the hilt of her Zweihander while her free arm clutched on the gash of wound on her abdomen. Approaching the unconscious entity, the blonde noticed the female's revealing yet promiscuous armor that exposed her voluptuous curves. Naruto cupped his chin as he studied every detail of the comatose being's well-endowed figure and wounds. The female reminds the blonde of a shark. Is she a hollow? Kensei frowned at the amount of injuries the woman withstood. Those injuries are fatal. She's blonde, like me. Naruto beamed. Dude, why do you always notice the most trivial things? There's a woman lying here unconscious, and from the information we extracted from the titty hollow, this woman might be her. Yeah, and she's hot. The silver-haired Shinigami, unable to tame his emotion, yelled. We have a situation here, god damn it. All right. I was just playing. The blonde Shinigami's visage bent to a complete flawless seriousness, as if an expression that experienced rigor of battles measured in a magnitude of near infinite. She most likely sustained her injuries before she arrived and then attacked by mobs. If my analysis is accurate, she came here with the teddy bear hollow but was separated from her. Because of her faint Ryatsu, the teddy bear hollow was unable to find her and came across the little girl instead. Naruto pointed at the numerous stones and pebbles beside the woman's limp body. The villagers probably saw her coming and attacked her with those stones. She couldn't defend herself and received the hits. Look at the dried stain of blood on the pebbles. Filthy bags of pus, those villagers. Kensei growled. Naruto's judgment on either hazardous or grave situations was always authentic and trustworthy. The silver-haired Shinigami believed the blonde's precise evaluating skills came from the perilous training he undertook from his surrogate uncles and grandmother. The only problem he detested was Naruto's ostensible attitude whenever he started analyzing the situation, along with an inscrutable smile. Look at the withered tree around her. Naruto surveyed his vicinity. Yeah. Perplexed over the deserted populace of animals that habitat within a scale of perimeter around him, Kensei scowled. What's with the toads or even insects that lived here? Her blood should attract animals here. That supported the fact that she's a hollow despite the lack of a hollow hole. Hollow's blood carried a distinctive odor that we couldn't smell, but for animals and plants, the smell is considered pungent or toxic to them. She is the one the Teddy Hollow asked us to look for. Naruto knelt beside the woman and placed his palm inches away from the large gash on her stomach. I'm going to use healing Kido to heal her and dash. Whoa. Hold on there, jerk. Heal her? What happened if she attacks us? Then we restrain her. Beside, she doesn't even has any energy to retaliate to begin with. Focusing on the lessons he learned from Retsu, Naruto channeled his Ryatsu with perfect domination that he successfully altered the raw yet fierce Ryatsu within him into a calm nature of serenity, and soon, his palm leaked a smoothing green glow. But, if she really attacks, I'm counting on you, I'll need all the backup. Kensei nodded and held the hilt of his sword. Staring in awe, the silver-haired Shinigami witnessed his best friend's first performance of the healing art of Kido and noticed the wound's critical condition inclining to amelioration in a rapid pace. The Hollow opened her emerald eyes weakly and flinched when she saw two Shinigami, especially the blonde with whiskers marked, crouching beside her in such close proximity. Stay away from me. Don't talk. The blonde Shinigami whispered with authority laced in his words. I'm healing your wounds. It will be all over soon, trust me. Although Shinigami was eternal nemesis of the Hollow, the female felt ensured by the blonde's statement. What do you want? Stay away from Dash. Stay calm. We're not going to hurt you. Naruto's attentive gazes were still fixing upon the injuries on the female Hollow. We're just trying to help. Why you no Dash? You're a Hollow. Naruto deadpanned. Then Dash. A friend of yours begs us to find you. If we know a beauty like you are here, we dashed here firsthand and rescued you. The blonde Shinigami smiled. Kensei's sweat dropped while unnoticed to the silver-haired Shinigami. The Hollow was flushing in a streak of vibrant crimson. Aren't you afraid that Dash? You don't have the sufficient energy to fight, technically. I suggest you leave after I patch you up. If other Shinigamis know about this, they won't let a weakened Ajucha's leveled Hollow escapes. The Hollow widened her eyes. Why you Dash? Yeah, I noticed. You remind me of a shark, and the latent Ryatsu stored within you is an obvious giveaway. Oh, by the way, I'm Uzumaki Naruto, and the bitch behind me is Muguruma Kensei. Kensei snorted. Titia, Halibel. XOXOXOXOXOXOXOXOXOXOXOXOXOXOX. Hirako Shinji yawned as he stood in line along with other graduates. Despite graduating in his 5th year, Shinji felt too bothersome to disclose his power until Naruto's persistent spars that revealed his true potential to the academy's headmaster. The principal eventually found out that Shinji had purposely diminished his potential as much as possible simply to escape tiresome missions in the future. Now, his plans of leading an ordinary life as a Shinigami were ruined, thanks to a fellow blonde. But it was all thanks to Naruto that he discovered the importance of friendship and confronting reality. What's taking Kensei and Naruto so long? Sorry, Jerk and I were taking care of a stupid mission. Shinji jumped when Kensei appeared behind him in complete stealth. Don't do that. Scares the shit out of me every time. I swear you learned this Dash. Yo! Shinji jumped, again. Damn it! Naruto smirked. So, what did we miss? Shrugging nonchalantly, a yawn escaped Shinji's mouth. Nothing much. The ceremony just started. Kensei elbowed his partner, a haughty smirk tugged at his lips. See, I told you that we're going to make it. Naruto rolled his eyes. Yeah, right. Disinterested with the attendance of the formal ceremony, Shinji's eyes drifted to the silver-haired Shinigami's foot and noticed a missing sandal. Omitting formalities weren't Kensei's trait despite his rowdy appearance. Shinji raised a questioning brow. Dude, what happened to your shoe? Naruto grasped his mouth to stop his tempting laughter while Kensei sighed. Long story. Silence. Jinryusai slammed his staff, commanding supreme authorities over the graduates before him. Brace yourself, younglings. The graduation ceremony shall commence. Wonder what squad I'll end up in. The Yamamoto heir grinned as he waited for his summoning. Standing in the audience, Aizen adjusted his glasses and smirked. You spare those two pathetic hollows, my predictions are true after all. You're just the man I thought you are, Yamamoto Uzumaki Naruto. And for that, my plan will follow accordingly, and you will never be a threatening pawn in my chessboard. Not under my watch. The brunette muttered silently before vanishing into emptiness. Chapter 5 End. Thanks for listening to Part 1.